Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Thank you for joining me tonight. We have part two of Ronversations by Proxy, the interview. This is Ron's interview with the Canuckleheads. That would be Cressidia Holmes and Mr. Ron Hop as well. They are the con runners for Kitchener City Comic Con, a convention which graciously hosted me as well as Vic Mignogna earlier this year, back in the days before the coronavirus, back when we had freedom. Back then, and it was really a great time and nice to get to know them, get to know their convention, get to explore the city of Kitchener, which is a lot of fun. It was a cool place. There's good food and lots of apologizing and good people. So they did an interview of Ron Toye, accompanied by KiwiFarms Ken Jennings, who is a therapist who Ron got to know Ken initially because Ken did a sort of a therapist analysis of Ron Toye's behavior and concluded that he crazy. No, he did not conclude that, but he concluded that Ron had some anger and control issues. And so Ron logically responded to the accusation that he had anger and control issues by saying, "I'm going to sue you, you little prick." Which nobody saw coming, but that was Ron's initial reaction. So this is part two of that interview. We got through about 45 minutes of it yesterday, and now we're on to the next segment. I'll try and pause it less, but it's kind of tough. But we're gonna go through it. It is a 4-hour interview. We will not finish tonight. We will not do that. But we got to the 45 minutes ish mark. We'll be kicking further down the road on that this evening, and we'll get as far as we can. After the show tonight, we're going to go over to my Twitch channel, which is which I have recently discovered the Twitch watch parties. Last night we watched Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport. Tonight we will be watching House of a Thousand Corpses, Rob Zombie's Nicky acclaimed horror movie, which has, in my opinion, one of the best directorial moments in movie history. But I think it's an all-around great homage to campy sort of demonic horror. It's a lot of fun. It's got lots of tribute to Texas Chainsaw Massacre and other movies. We're gonna watch that. It's also the standout performance of is it Rian Wilson, Dwight Schrute, probably the greatest thing he's ever done in his career is House of a Thousand Corpses. So it's not how you get a DMCA, because it is an Amazon watch party on Twitch. To join me, though, to join in watching the actual movie through the feature, you have to have Amazon Prime. If you don't have, and I believe you have to be in the US of A or use a VPN to make it think you're in the USA. If you do not have Amazon, it's Rain. I don't know his name. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can still watch my commentary if you have some alternative means of watching it, but you'd have to have like 2 windows open to do that, and that's up to you. But you can join in the Twitch to do that. It is a fun time. Okay, so that's great. Update tomorrow, I believe Spectre will be joining me. We'll be talking about the Justina Pelletier lawsuit and her family's quest to get compensated. That should be extremely frustrating. I mentioned the Russell Greer stream at the end of last week, and I have confirmed that we will do that a week from tomorrow. That is the best time for Sriracha and I with our schedules, and I really wanted to bring Sriracha on the show. I was hoping to do it this week, but her schedule didn't fit with my schedule this week. So Wednesday of next week will be Russell Greer with Sriracha. We will be going through his arrest documents from when he was a high schooler, and we will similarly be taking a peek at whatever Russell's been up to lately, including a new lawsuit of against Taylor Swift. So that's that. I believe Drexel is coming over Thursday this week, and I just talked to my man Q. And if you guys don't know, Q and Soder had a sort of challenge going on. Once they hit a certain amount of subscribers, they would do a Russian slap fight. And they're allegedly going to perform the Russian slap fight at my house. Like maybe even this weekend, either Friday or Saturday. I'm not entirely sure exactly which day. I think it should be the 19th or Juneteenth, as is celebrated in honor of Black History Month taking over Pride Month. I think we should do it on Juneteenth. That would be really funny, but it depends on when that is going to happen, when Q and Soder are available. I am hoping to have ringside announcing from both me and Drexel, and I believe we'll be multi-streaming that to this channel and to Q's channel. I'm not sure how we're gonna work it out, but we're gonna do whatever. So hopefully it won't be lame and it'll be fun. I don't know what time all of that is, but I will keep you posted. So that is that. One more thing before we get started. I received a gift. I've gotten a couple gifts lately, and I will feature all of them, but I got this one a little bit ago. This is from Ayla123. And it says, "Hey Nick, I remember a while back you said you love Cowboy Bebop, so here's a beer stein to replace the Nick mug that broke. Love what you do and hope to meet you at a con someday." So this is a Cowboy Bebop beer stein. We got Faye, Jet, Spike, Ed, Ein, I think is in there. It's hard to see in the glare. Yeah, Ein is down there by Ed. So very cool. Thank you so much. It's a really nice mug stein. And thank you, Ayla, for that. So, all right. Okay. So now, one more piece of housekeeping is I did a video earlier today. If you didn't get a notification for it, you may want to check it out. It's about qualified immunity. Qualified immunity is something that the Supreme Court decided to completely punt on Monday. And there have been multiple qualified immunity cases, and it's a nasty doctrine that makes it legal for police and other public officials to do. It makes it legal for them to do illegal things, like literally stealing your money. Like they've got a search warrant and they search your house and they go, "This is mine," with your stuff, put it in their pocket, not seize it as part of some sort of raid, put it in their pocket, say, "This is mine," and leave and not report it or anything. They just take it from you. That's legal in the Ninth Circuit and in some other circuits as well. So that's qualified immunity. It's great. So that's if you want to see how that goes and the logic behind it, there's a video. And then, oh, I lied. There is one more thing. That is Vic's petition I mentioned we're going to talk about this probably every stream for a little bit here. We'll definitely do it through the 20th, which is when Vic's paperwork is due. But here you go. Vic's petition is up to 8,903 signatures, which is a huge boost from yesterday. So to anybody who did participate and sign from this show on that, thank you so much. If you have not signed it and you want to put your name on it and to bring Vic to Anime Matsuri, please do so. There was an update that just went out, and I am going to take a look at that real quick. So it's 8,000 and what lies ahead. Annie Brooks. A week ago, I would have never thought that 8,000 fans would step up and let the powers that be know that if they want to survive, they need to listen to us. They need to listen to us. You are all amazing. However, Matsuri has still yet to announce Vic. Other shows are now having their staffers vocalize that even though they hear us, and they do hear us, they continue to refuse to put Vic based on their own power-hungry notions of virtue signaling. Rather than focus on them, we focus on bringing back Vic, sharing and making it known that we, the many, aren't just going to roll over and let they, the few, who believe that they have power, push us around anymore. If we're going to pay for tickets, hotel travels, we are investing in your show. And when we tell you whom we wish to experience at those shows, maybe listen to your audience. In less than 24 hours, the United Anime community jumped the numbers from 4 to 8,000. What number will we hit? If you reading this shares it with even just one friend? Look, nothing can stop you. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We, the fans, have the power, and it is for the fans. So there you go. Thank you, Annie Brooks, for updating this and letting people know what's going on. Let's see if we can push that thing past 10,000. That's a lot of people requesting a guest at a specific show. That's a lot of people. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's show them how much people want to see Vic. Because Ron's entire premise, guys, the Ronversations, this is why it melds perfectly with this. Ron's entire premise is that Vic is destroyed. That everybody hates him and no one wants to have him at a show, including the fans. Ron's not just talking about showrunners. You have to remember, Ron insulated himself into a little bubble and decided that only the people that he hadn't blocked on Twitter are the people that were saying acceptable things and coming up with acceptable responses. So he's been in a hug box. Let's show Ron. Let's show everybody how much the fans stand behind Vic and want to see him at shows, and specifically at Matsuri. Oh. We got that grape crush. We got heresy whiskey. We're going to need it. We're going to need that heresy whiskey. What is a Ronversation? Oh, buddy. Out. Well, you'll find out in just a moment. That is a exceptionally sweet whiskey. It's got a lot of fire to it, but not smoky fire, alcohol-y fire, but it is very, very sweet as well. All right. 3 chats, and then should be getting started. Okay, Streamlabs. Oh. Really? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Streamlabs, for actually helping. Okay. We've got Wes Nilechan says, whether or not Vic wins in appeals, who wants to bet against me that Ron's engagement lasts much beyond that? Hashtag top 10 anime betrayals. Mithrin Emmer says, Pshaw, you have only a house of 1,000 corpses. Ron has 1,017 and 0. Squawk! Thank you. Bad Vibe says, Google ex-employees harassment case. I haven't seen it, but maybe. Maybe. Okay. I'm drinking an oatmeal cookie tonight. How about you? I'm going to have adequate liquid for House of a Thousand Corpses tonight. That got a little ridiculous. My thoughts on the Zotes? I don't know much about them, but what I heard about them, they sound pretty cool. Okay, let's do this. Here we are. We're at 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 54 seconds into the overall interview. Ron came in around the 30, 35 minute mark. So let's start this thing up and see how far we can get. I don't remember what was said last, so this will be great. This will be like putting my hand in a blender. Oh. Hold on. I know. It's muted. Here we go. Okay, we'll go back just a hair on this. All right. Here we go.
And people criticize, well, you said 100 people. Well, we got 17 people to sign.
I can't do it. I don't know if I can make it through this. You said 100 people. Well, we got 17 to sign. I remember having a rant about this at the end of the last show. Those 17 people do not represent 100 women, and they're not even close. Not even close to 100 women from the stories Ron was claiming. Not anywhere even near it. In fact, many of them are double. Many of them have been disproven. One of them is an actual raving lunatic. A legit insane person filled out one. And that person also filled it out based on information that they could not know firsthand. They were not in the country at the time. They lied under oath saying they were there, but they weren't there. And admitted on Twitter to using someone else's notes to help them remember something that they weren't even there for. Michelle Specht, Vic's fiance, is one of them who has nothing to do with the accusations of that. That's just, they paraded in Michelle Specht to say that Vic cheated on her or something. Vic's been pretty quiet about why he and Michelle's marriage never materialized. Michelle has said her part of the story, sort of, and provided some emails. But it's interesting because relationships are always two-way streets. Well, until they're a one-way street, because you load it pointlessly into a lawsuit for the sole purpose of harming Vic's character. Because you're a giant piece of shit, like Ron Toye. Blue Shift 009 says, "Hey Nick, what's a good whiskey that won't break the bank? Plan on getting something nice for my dad on Father's Day. If you like whiskey, I mean, Basil Hayden's is a great choice. Bullet Bourbon is a great choice. They're solid. They're not expensive. Let's see. I'm trying to think. If you don't want a bourbon, Basil Hayden's rye and the Bullet Rye are fine. If you're looking for a low price scotch that is tasty around the $50 mark, the Glenlivet 12 is fine. I've heard good things about Monkey Shoulder. I've never had it though. So, okay. Anyway, here we go. Back to this.
And do appropriate affidavits and provided documents. And guess what happened? Everything we turned in. People use that to dox people. And
nope. Nobody used it to dox anybody, by the way. And here's why. You can't be doxed by having your name publicly included in a lawsuit. You can't do that. That's not doxing, because you are saying, I am this person here. I'm stating under oath. Now, there are steps you can take to get confidentiality if there's some sort of fear, legitimate fear of harassment or whatever, some sort of danger to the person. None of those steps were taken. None of them were taken to stop these names. These names were filed along with the documents from the defense. Like Ron Toye's team put those documents and attach them to public filings. That's not doxing. That's not doxing in any way. That's pulling up a publicly available document that this person willingly signed their name to. That's it.
But the TCPA is there to show when somebody doesn't have a lawsuit. And so while it might be frustrating, but if he actually had a lawsuit, it is. The TCPA is there to protect from frivolous lawsuits. If you can't.
The TCPA does not just protect from frivolous lawsuits. That's the major criticism of it. And lots of people suggest that TCPAs and anti-SLAPP statutes are infringing upon someone's right to face their accusers. They're infringing upon someone's right to bring legal redress to someone who's caused them damage. So ostensibly, it's for that, but it's also there to protect the rights of someone with a meritorious claim to have their day in court. That's the other part of that preamble to the TCPA that he's quoting. But no one ever quotes that second part. And the problem is, but never mind.
Can't even overcome the most basic burden of.
It's not a basic burden. It's actually a really high burden in a lot of ways. Let me state it this way. It should be a basic burden. A prima facie showing is not that hard to overcome. But a prima facie showing has become very hard to overcome in the context of a TCPA when discovery is stopped and when everything is stacked against the plaintiff to use the tools that he would otherwise have at his disposal. You don't have them. And it's interesting that Ron is saying if you don't have this most basic thing, when the people that Ron is leaning on in a little bit, the law Twitter people, are saying it's really hard to bring a defamation case at all because it's so difficult and such a big burden for the TCPA. Ron is of two minds here. Well, Ron is probably of no mind here, but it's a little bit ridiculous. I think Ron is for anti-SLAPP motions so long as they suit him. He would be against them if he tried to sue anybody else. Mithran Emmer says, gee, it's too bad the plaintiff didn't extend a confidentiality offer to the defendants that got rejected so those poor people didn't get doxxed. Well, I mean, Ron doesn't remember that. Ron doesn't remember that at all, but he's going to pretend that he does.
A TCPA that is there to protect people like me and Monica who are exercising our right of free speech. So if you can't overcome that, then you don't have the basis to even file the lawsuit in the beginning. And that's why it's so imperative for him to go and talk to somebody to potentially look at a malpractice lawsuit and look into the referral. Because if you get swept 17-0, and they talk about that, this is something they need to talk to a malpractice lawyer. Because in any other case, and in another situation, you get dunked on like that, I would be pissed at my lawyers. If I had...
Ron, you fucking degenerate idiot. You don't get to sue a lawyer for malpractice just because you don't win the case. If that were the way malpractice lawsuits worked, which, remember, you said in any other case, when you get dunked on like that, which would be losing at pretrial, if that were the way that malpractice lawsuits worked, almost every case would be accompanied by a subsequent malpractice case, and then that case would be accompanied by another malpractice case because there's a loser in every case that is litigated. Someone loses. To say that constitutes malpractice is nonsensical. It is absolutely bafflingly stupid. I don't know how else to describe it. But this is just Ron's thing. He thinks it's malpractice that he got sued because Ron thinks the only competent legal advice Vic could have gotten was don't sue Ron Toye. That's it. I mentioned this at the beginning of yesterday's show. Everything Ron says has to be framed with the idea that Ron doesn't believe he should be sued. No matter what he says, even if he says, oh, Vic has the right to sue me, he thinks it's malpractice to get sued. That's the ultimate outcome. Anyway, let's go on.
We had lost all of our claims. you better believe I'd be looking at that.
Yeah, everybody's
But
pissed when they lose.
Number though, Ron.
At
So,
least,
hold on. Ken?
There's a problem with that number though, Ron. Sorry.
go ahead. What's the problem with that?
The 17 affidavits or whatever,
Yeah, yep.
or however many affidavits there were.
I believe it was 17.
I know for a fact one of those affidavits contains non-factual information that the person could literally not have been present for their affidavit that was made, the statement.
Ron fucking knows this too, because Ron's a liar and a piece of shit. I can't stress this enough. Ron knows too.
Was made for. They were not there. They were proven to be in a completely different location. They could not have been there.
Right.
Their
Are you
affidavit-
talking about the ones that were signed by Ty, or
No, you fucking dumb ingrate.
No, it
because
was one of the
they're-
affidavits from the parties supporting you and Monica.
Oh, okay.
One of the affidavits, there is one of the persons could not have physically been present at that place when the alleged incidents took place.
Okay.
That affidavit is most likely information conveyed by a third party and then used as an affidavit.
Okay.
But that has been proven, and the facts have come out on that.
Well, and that's the part
That
where
is
it's
the
going into the weeds about who proved what. And
No, that's not. That's not a part about going into the weeds. First of all, Ron is very proud of these 17 affidavits. These 17 affidavits are not considered as part of the TCPA. They included them, but necessarily they are irrelevant for the purposes of TCPA, because TCPA is the plaintiff establishing a prima facie showing. It is not the defense getting to counteract the plaintiff's prima facie showing. This is part of the problem with how the hearing took place. They're going to argue about that in a little bit. Ron is going to show that he has literally no idea how a TCPA should be run, but there is no purpose to have the 17 affidavits at this stage, because the defense doesn't get to argue. They don't get to argue against the plaintiff's factual assertions in this way. And they don't get to make new factual assertions. The questions are, did you make the statement? Did the statement cause damage? Was the damage, or was the statement a lie? And was the person you made the statement about identifiable and the plaintiff? And then if it's a public figure, was it made with the requisite level of malice? So once you answer those questions, there's no controverting it. The controverting it comes for the fact finder at a jury, either at a jury trial or a bench trial in front of a judge. The fact finder's job is to discern the level of factual accuracy and which is most true or most likely to be true. That happens later. That never occurs in a TCPA, and this is part of people's problems with it, is that when you have a situation like this, where you have someone saying, they made the statements, we know they made the statements, I'm saying they're false, they caused me damage, I can demonstrate that I was fired from all of these things, I say it's because of these statements and the timeline is here, and then I say they did it maliciously because they know them to be false. Once they do that, that is it. You don't get to have a counter narrative until a jury trial. That's the point of having the trial, is that's when you get to introduce your contravening evidence. And again, this is the problem with Judge Chupp opening up the questioning by stating, why shouldn't your client be in this suit? That's not how it goes. That's not how that is supposed to work in any sort of way. So Ron's really proud of these affidavits, but they don't get assessed yet. And Ron, you and your lawyers have a duty to assess the validity of the affidavit. I mean, yes, you eventually take people at their word, but if your lawyer finds out that affidavit is false, they have a duty to withdraw that affidavit. They cannot keep it in there knowingly suborning perjury. It's not acceptable. So no, but I'm getting too far into this. They haven't had a chance to fight over those affidavits. It's not the proper time in the lawsuit to have a fight over them. So Ron's like, he's going to say, well, why didn't Ty point that out, because it's not actually time to do that at this point. There isn't a proper function for addressing those affidavits. They come into play later.
And if it was the case, and honestly, if it could be proven, like that's a Ty's job to take care of it. And let me.
No, it's not just Ty's job. It's also your counsel's job.
To be very clear, if it did come out that somebody lied, I hope they get prosecuted.
No, you don't.
For lying, because an affidavit, you're sworn under the penalty of perjury, and fuck anybody who lies.
Fuck you. You're lying right now, you fucking weasel. You know you're lying because you know you went to crazy people and you know you went to people who lied. You know you did that. You know the lady from 30 years ago is lying. You know that LJ Montello is lying. You probably know that Faisal Ahmed is lying as well. You know these people are lying. Hell, you fucking know Monica's lying.
And that's how I honestly feel about it. Like, if you lied under the penalty of perjury, good luck. Any one of them. Go to fucking jail, you piece of shit. You know, and
they're not going to go to jail, Ron. Almost no one goes to jail in a perjury of an affidavit in a lawsuit. If people went to jail for perjuring themselves in civil suits, everybody would be in jail because people do it all the time. That's why the lawyers have an ethical obligation to withdraw those perjurious affidavits. I really do hope it comes back on this, because I want them to cram that affidavit right up Ron's ass and pull it out through his fucking nose.
That's at any point of this, either side. Like, and maybe it doesn't go to jail, maybe it is this or this, but God help the person who fucking lies.
That's you fucking liar.
Withdraw that affidavit, though.
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know. Affidavit you're talking about.
I can point to the affidavit. I can get you the supporting facts that justify.
I would encourage you to send that to Ty, but at this point, it's too far gone. You know.
I mean, yeah, we're in the appeals court now, and it's what it is.
Right.
But I believe this information was determined before we hit the hearings and before we were talking of appeals. So this was verified before then.
But why didn't Ty do anything about it then?
Because it's not the proper juncture to do that.
The purpose at that point was the affidavits were something that. Well, the affidavits were something that would have come later. That determining the validity of them mattered later because of the way the TCPA structure works.
Ron has literally no idea right now that for the purposes of TCPA, those affidavits likely haven't even been read by the judge. They're irrelevant at this point. Look at him. Why wouldn't we provided 17 affidavits? No, Ron, that was actually money you didn't need to spend. This is maybe the worst part of this for Ron. He's going to talk about how much money they spent. We spent a ton of money to prevent they didn't need the affidavits at this stage. Completely pointless to their case. Absolutely irrelevant. And Ron is probably calculating in there right now, why did we spend all that money on these affidavits if they're for later? They could have put that money off to spend at a later time. It's completely pointless to the suit at hand.
And,
so one thing. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to ask this really quickly before we get onto a different topic. So Ron, like all of the stuff that you're talking about here, it's valid, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about is very valid. And like from my perspective, I know it would cost more money to go to court. I understand that. But the answers and the things that you're talking about, they're not answered by the TCPA. Like, yes, it was dismissed under the TCPA for the reasons of a public not having enough evidence for a public figure, but that doesn't answer the fact of did this actually happen or not. It's just, did it happen to the extent that it would pass the TCPA? Right. I think what my perspective was, it's like you're wanting answers, Vic's wanting answers, everybody in this situation is wanting answers. None of you are getting it from the TCPA. So
I know what she's doing.
It's a matter of where you're looking. So for us, we said our truth. And
there it is. Did you hear it? I'm gonna play it a fucking again. Here it is, and this is the problem. This is the problem with the TCPA. This is a problem with everything. I hope you heard it. You're going to hear it again in a second. And it is one of the most frustrating piles of bullshit I can imagine.
Of where you're looking. So for us, we said our truth.
Our truth. It's that weaselly, commie fucking concept that everybody's got their heads in their asses about right now in academia and in leftist talking points and generally left-wing thinkers. They have this idea of our truth or my truth or this. First of all, it's not Ron's truth. Ron wasn't there for Monica's incident with Vic. Ron cannot have a truth. Ron is borrowing Monica's truth. But my truth isn't the truth. There is the truth. The truth is a real thing. And so if I hug you and your truth is that I raped you, then your truth is a lie. And if you go around telling people he raped me, and it's like, whoa, no, I did not. Absolutely. Well, my truth is that he raped me. No, that is not how it works. That's a subjective measure of truth. And that is where these people are. They have deluded themselves into a reality that doesn't actually exist. And if you want to know the genesis of basically every claim in this entire fucking lawsuit and the whole debacle surrounding everything, it's when someone's truth overcame their reality to decide later, years after the fact, that an innocuous side hug or a kiss on the forehead was somehow akin to being sexually assaulted. And I'm not making that up. That's Ron's words. That's Ron's words, that sexual assault is some kiss with revoked consent, not even non-consensual. Because at the time, people had no problems with these encounters. Their truth now, after they've reanalyzed, rediscovered, revisited, had memories brought up, which means created. And yes, your brain creates memories. They've done all sorts of studies on this, even in those tragic, traumatic moments where your brain should have an ironclad review of what happened. Over time, as you tell the story, as you open up about it, the story will inevitably change. It just does. They've done this with one of the famous studies was with 9/11. They asked people just after 9/11, hundreds of people, where were you when the planes hit the towers? And they tell them. And then a year later, they go back and they ask them, where were you when the planes hit the tower? And then 10 years later, they went back and asked them the same question. Where were you when the planes hit the tower? And their answers were different all three times. My truth is not the truth. And so you can have your truth all day. It's useful to have your truth, and it's useful to address people in their situation, in their truth. It is not very useful. This is what I talk about with like the Black community and Black Lives Matter. You're not going to convince someone in Black Lives Matter by using the FBI crime statistics, because their truth, which is not the truth, is that blacks are disproportionately treated. And so then when you bring up a statistical argument and show, okay, they're not disproportionately treated here, here, and here, they go, yeah, but they are though, because you're not a member of my community. You don't know. It's the same thing with Monica and Ron. That is fine from a social discussion. It is not fine for policy, and it is not fine for lawsuits. At those points, we're looking for objectivity, not subjectivity. Anyway, that's the problem. And so whenever you hear, if like I'm talking about a Black Lives Matter issue and you hear me empathizing with the sentiment that the community feels, the purpose of that empathy is the community hurts. Like, you can't change that there's a community hurting. Ron and Monica, you can't change the fact that they were hurting, that Monica's crying herself to sleep and Ron's crying herself to sleep for 6 months straight. You can't change that. Even if they're objectively wrong, they're living in their truth. So if you're a friend, you want to address them in their truth rather than just say, Ron, girl, you got to get over this because it's not actually correct. You want to address her and her hurt. That's important to do. But when we're at a lawsuit, we're trying to get to the objective truth of what happened, not the subjective truth of what happened, especially when it comes to defamation, and especially when we're talking about sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, career-ending allegations. Those have to be objectively verified, not subjectively endured, I guess is the word.
And he chose to sue us. So we already gave our answer.
Our answer.
Now we got a response from the court that we expected because we stood our ground, right? So
no,
he didn't.
I don't think they actually expected that response,
that they were hoping for. But that's the thing what we're saying. We spoke our truth. He decided to sue, and then this was the result because he didn't provide a single drop of discovery or evidence that
fucking false. You liar. You liar. You didn't want his evidence. In fact, you fought real hard to keep that evidence out. You liar. And God, I hope the appeals court decides that that was wrongly kept out.
That we were lying, or that it was a lie.
Well, here's one thing I just want you to consider, though, sure. And I'm not saying that I think that you're lying, right? I don't say, because you clearly believe what you're saying, so you believe it.
I bet he does believe it. I'll say he's lying because I don't have him on the show. I'm not criticizing Cress here. I get what Cress is doing, but he's clearly lying. I don't know if he does believe it. Everything he's saying. We'll see.
What if there is a chance that what you have heard or what you believe in fact might not be true? Like, I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm not saying you're making it up. I'm saying you're basing your belief on facts and evidence that you have seen. What if those facts and evidence are not necessarily what they seem to be?
See, and that's where Vic got misled in this lawsuit.
Nope.
He isn't on trial. He isn't the one being sued. He chose to sue us. So he put us in the position that we are supposed to be perceived innocent until
No. Let him finish the statement.
Proven guilty, right?
No, wrong, you dummy. Innocence until proven guilty is a criminal presumption. It's a presumption of criminal guilt, which is beyond any reasonable doubt. That means that for the state to deprive you of liberty or property, they must prove beyond any reasonable doubt that you are guilty of a crime. And until the state does that, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Civil suits between two citizens are suits of equal power. Suits between a citizen and a state in a criminal context are unequal power. The state is employing a massive amount of power against just a simple citizen. But in civil suits, there is no presumption of guilt or innocence. You fucking dildo. You have no idea what you're talking about, and it's painfully apparent to anyone who does. You have no presumption of being right or innocent or whatever. That doesn't exist. You and Vic are on equal footing, and everyone is free to choose who they think is right or wrong without presumption. And Vic doesn't have to prove your guilt at all. Vic has to prove your fault in damages to 51%. So no, there is no presumption. And you actually don't, I don't know if you guys know this, you don't have the benefit of the doubt in civil law as the defendant. You absolutely do not. The TCPA, and again, yet another criticism of anti-SLAPP statutes, especially ones like the TCPA, which are so strong, is that they give the benefit of the doubt to one party. Interestingly, that's supposed to be Vic. Vic is supposed to get the benefit of the doubt as the non-moving party. He's the one who's supposed to get that benefit, and he didn't in this case. Ron is objectively wrong and subjectively wrong and objectively a fucking idiot.
So this was never about proving any innocence on Vic. He was trying to prove that we did something wrong.
You did.
So I'm not trying to, our position in this situation isn't trying to make him.
That's actually not true. Vic's job is not to prove that they did something wrong. Vic's job is to, and their job as adversarial positions are to find the requisite level of fault between them. Vic's overall damages are, this is what happened to me. I lost these jobs, I lost this income, and my reputation suffered this much. Their job is to prove that they're only responsible for X% of it, where X is as close to 0 as possible. That's the difference. Vic isn't supposed to prove that they did something wrong. Vic's job is to say that they caused that, to prove that he suffered damage due to wrongful acts of parties, and then work out with those parties what the requisite level of fault is and how much they owe to recompensate that damage. I hope that's
him or do any favors to him, right? It is solely to prove that we did not err.
Did not err.
Exercising of our rights to free speech.
You don't have a right to lie about someone. I don't know if you guys, to lie about someone in a way that causes damage. You don't have that right. That's actually not part of free speech.
So while there is matter of debate, maybe this or that is accurate or not. That's why it was futile for him to file the lawsuit, because you could leave it up for debate and leave it on the.
If it's up for debate, then it goes to jury. Ron, that's prima facie in a nutshell, you fucking squirrel. If Vic can show that it's up for debate, then his lawsuit has merit. You're tacitly admitting over and over and over again that his lawsuit actually does have merit and that the TCPA is improperly applied in this case. Well, if it's up for debate, then you need a fact finder. The moment it's up for a debate, when all benefit of the doubt of facts goes towards the plaintiff, and the plaintiff then has a question that needs to be sussed out by a jury, then the lawsuit has merit. That's it. There's no other way to state it. That is what a prima facie showing is. Ron is saying over and over that Vic didn't do it, but then he's also saying that Vic did that because he doesn't actually know what prima facie means. He just knows that his lawyer said that he has to make a prima facie showing and that the judge said that he didn't. Judges are wrong all the time.
Social forum, because people are calling me like an abuser, right?
You are an abuser!
I could try to sue them.
No, you can't! You are an abuser! Not only have you admitted to being an abuser, it's in a fucking court document that you are an abuser. It is the most... You had every opportunity to confront and deny it, and you didn't. It is the most true statement most people can say about you, Ron, because it's in the goddamn record that you are an abuser. That's it. You are Ron Toye. You are an abuser. You were an abuser. You still are an abuser. It's in the court record that you were an abuser. Everybody who says it, you could try and sue him. I guess you will get your anal hole opened wide by the countersuits that come. You are an abuser. Ron Toye is an abuser. probably shouldn't be allowed at any conventions because any women around him or children are in danger of being abused. We have proof that that's happened. Way more than you have against Vic or 99% of other VAs. We know Ron Toye might abuse someone because we know because of a court that Ron Toye did abuse people. It isn't even close.
So then I'd have to try to prove to them that I'm not an abuser.
Nope. No. Ron, you can't try to prove to them that you're not an abuser. You can't prove a negative. It doesn't work that way.
So how am I supposed to do that when
you can't?
There's some level of documentation in history. Now I could try to justify and counteract all the
Nope, not on the abuser. There is no justification and counteraction. You had to do that back then. You can't do it now. The court has found you to be an abuser. You are one.
Depositions, right?
No, wrong.
Or
wrong.
That affidavit that's against me, but it wouldn't.
No, you can't challenge it now. You don't get to challenge an affidavit now. Your ex-wife would have to come out and say she lied under oath. And the judge would be like, why the fuck are you saying you lied under oath now? Be admitting to a crime.
Matter. I wouldn't be able to prove it. Plus you have to prove damages. So why this was such a dumb thing for them to pursue is that moment there. So while there are answers...
That moment there, Vic has 0 criminal charges, 0 criminal complaints. He has no civil suits saying that he's ever done anything like what you're accusing him of. There is no court documentation. There are not even... I'll pay $100 for someone to provide me with a contemporary police report about Vic Mignogna. I will flat out fucking pay $100 for any contemporary to the event police report about Vic Mignogna regarding abuse. Fuck you, flat out. You provide me with a police report of Vic Mignogna's abuse, I will give you $100. I know you can't do it because if it existed, it would already show up. It would already be here. There is not a shred of legal process touched evidence against Vic. There's a bunch against you. So that's point number 1 where you're wrong. Point number 2 where you're wrong is let's go back to what you just said.
Able to prove it. Plus you have to prove damages. So why this was such a dumb thing for...
Vic can show plenty of damage. He was canceled from, 13 conventions. He knows about how much he would make at those conventions. Of course he can prove damages. He was fired from Rooster Teeth and Funimation. Of course he can show damages. You can't show damages because no one cares that you're an abuser. They just go, oh, that Ron guy... he's a piece of shit wife abuser. That's it. They're not going to fire you for abusing your wife. They're just going to call you a fucking asshole.
Them to pursue is that moment there. So while there are answers that are left undone, that would be if we were suing, if people decided to sue him and charge him for the crimes or crimes that people think he committed.
Crimes? You can't charge someone with crimes that you think you committed. A DA has to charge the criminal acts based on a level of probable cause, of which there has never been even a fucking complaint. You lying cunt. That's the problem, Ron. And you guys knew this. You knew this. This is you lying. Crimes? Nova Zero says, Nikki, clear assaulter in this case. Moron stood his ground. Stay back, stay back. Also, this fool doesn't get it. I Stand With Vic was doing their thing before the law, man. You just made it funny. Also, I love Adblock. Yeah, I didn't. I'm not responsible for I Stand With Vic or people retaliating against these idiots. This is just, I just happened to be there and people wanted a legal opinion on it. That's it.
Or maybe perceive, that would be a different scenario. Then yes, answers need to be done. But in a situation,
no, you have to answer for the lies that you told too. If it's a lie, you're gonna have to fucking prove that it's not.
Situation where he's saying we did something wrong, then we provided enough information to the judge to say, look, here's our shit. We didn't do anything wrong.
No, again, misunderstanding how the TCPA worked. The judge shouldn't have been looking for your information that you did nothing wrong. That's not the judge's job at TCPA. It just isn't. And that hearing was a disaster partly because of that.
Done. Now, if somebody tries to sue him for something, then those answers and those things need to be really detailed, explored. But he was trying to say we did something wrong by exercising our free speech. And he decided to sue and then put all these extra shit on there, like tortious interference and all this other stuff.
That's because you fucking called a convention and told them you wouldn't have it and that Monica would break her contract if they had Vic. That's the fucking basis of tortious interference. It's as clear cut as it gets.
And his lawyers should have known better. And that's the part where we have a problem. And their answers will never be done because they're answers that would be answered if the roles were reversed.
No, it'd be answered at a jury trial. Real simply. Prove it, fucko. That's how it would go. This is a lie. You said it. It caused me harm. Prove it, fucko. Now it's your job to prove truth as a defense. That's how that works. That's what an affirmative defense is. Here's the crazy thing. Again, I can't stress enough how ridiculous this is. We know they said the thing. We know they said it about Vic. We know that Vic suffered damages, and Vic says they're lies. At this point, you have a massive amount of evidence to bring the suit. I can't stress enough how the internet has changed defamation suits and why anti-slaps are bad. Beforehand, here's what an anti-slap was created to prevent. I have a conversation with you about someone, and then they are friends with the other with you. They're friends with you. And then they say that, and then you fire them or something, whatever. And they say that I said something negative about you to the other person. They just allege that I said it. Prove it. Well, fuck me. How do you do that? How do you prove I even said it in the first place? How do you prove what I said without a recording? This is what anti-slaps were supposed to prevent. There's no recording. We don't know that they even said it. How do we know that's the source of damage if we don't even know that it was said in the first place? Twitter changed all of that. And now having anti-slap, we know, because Ron has not asserted that someone else took over his Twitter account. We know that Ron tweeted the 400 times. We know for a fact he did it. Vic says they're lies, that they're not true things about him. Vic says that they caused damages to him. And Vic says that Ron knows that he was lying about them, or that he had reckless disregard for the truth of the matter. We know Ron said it. Ron's defense normally would be, I didn't say that. That's not what I said. Those aren't the words I used. That conversation was private, blah, blah, blah. It never happened. Those defenses are gone in this case. This is what's so frustrating about anti-slaps now. We can show everything that they did. It should be going to trial to determine if those statements actually caused the damage Vic said they did. As of right now, we may never find out.
And that's the part that's disappointing in the situation and why I've been so passionate about it, because fans are hurting. People are hurting.
Fuck you. You said you didn't care about the fans. You said, of course I care about the fans because they're Monica's business. Piss off. You don't care about fans hurting.
And they're wanting answers, but they're wanting answers if the lawsuit was
No, you said, this is so disingenuous of this motherfucker. He said they had the receipts and would provide them. All of them would be coming. Everything would come out. They promised everything would come out. Well, it'll come out in court. Didn't come out in court. Well, it'll come out after court. Oh, of course it will. People want answers to what you said you had, you liar.
Flipped to try to prove Vic's innocence. This was never about proving Vic's innocence or this. It was just proving that we didn't lie or that we were okay in expressing our free speech. And all extra shit was put in our mouths in words that never happened. And
that's because you're assholes who tried to kill a man.
And that's the frustrating part about this is like we're being perceived as these animals and mean people when Monica literally said if he does X, Y, and Z, I'd be the one to help him get back here.
Oh wait.
And people criticize her for that.
There's a problem with that, though.
Good job, Ken. Good guy,
There's
Ken.
a problem with that, though, is we can look at, I don't know how many people in the last several years who have gone through similar things, similar accusations, whether it's sexual, physical, anything. There is no coming back.
First problem is pointed out by Ken. There is no coming back. There is no coming back. Oh, if you're wondering about that, tried to kill a man. Let me clarify. I'm hyperbolizing. Ron and Monica both say that they know Vic very well. Ron's lying about that, by the way. Monica is not. Ron's lying about knowing Vic very well, but Monica is not. But I believe that Monica knows Vic well enough and has communicated to Ron about Vic enough for this to be true. Maybe it isn't. Maybe they don't talk. I mean, because we found out that Ron learned a lot about Monica from me, which, Ron, sorry you got cucked on that, but you did, you piece of shit. Monica knows Vic well enough to be true, for this to be true. Separating Vic from his career, from the fans, and from the passion of interacting with people, I believe, based on me and my knowledge of Vic, which is not a decade plus, it's just now 17 months-ish. Based on my knowledge of Vic, I would suggest that Monica knew that doing this to Vic would likely result in his suicide if they were successful. 100%. If you spend any amount of time watching Vic interact with fans and seeing how Vic cares about his reputation and his image. The man cries at panels like a baby. I love you, Vic, but come on, stop crying. He cries at panels talking to these kids and empathizing with them and identifying with the hurt that they've gone through, the ostracism that they've gone through. That's why he's so damn likable, is he's right there with them. I say that anyone who knows Vic for any amount of time knows that separating him from those people and for the reason that you have so brutalized his image that those people think that he is a sexual danger to them, that anyone who knows Vic knows that runs the risk of him Minecrafting himself. And if Monica did this the way she did, which she obviously did, then she knew that was a potential outcome for Vic. She knew it. So did Ron. So did Jamie Markey. And frankly, so did fucking Funimation. Because all of those people who've spent time with Vic know how this works. They had no problem separating him from fans. They had either no thought about it, or worse, they did think about it and go, yeah, too bad for him. That's what I mean. And I will stick with that accusation to my fucking grave. Because it took me about 3 conversations with Vic to realize this asshole isn't lying to me. He actually really does care about all of these people. He actually answers all of these emails that anime fans sent him for no reason other than because he does. Because he genuinely cares about each and every person who comes up to him in line. As weird as that may sound to the average person, that's why he's so good and why fans love him. Not just like to see him, they legitimately love him. It's frankly strange. It's not a bad thing. It's just a not normal thing. How well he interacts with people is something that is outside of the ordinary. That's why he's so successful. That's why we have how many people on this signature? It was at 8903. Are we up more now? We're going to be probably at 8923 by the time this thing actually catches up, or maybe 8930. Yeah, that's why over 8,900 people have signed a petition to bring him to Anime Matsuri, because he's so flipping good at being in front of and with and present with people. He remembers names of people he saw like 5 conventions ago in different states or previous years. It's disgusting to me because I'm bad at that. Like if I meet you and I don't remember your name, I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. I'm not good at that. That's not a function that my brain does. I'll probably recognize your face or your feet, one of those two things, but I'm not good at remembering names and putting them to those faces. Vic is very good at that stuff. He's good at remembering stories people tell him, and he brings them up. Ugh. Ron is disgusting. Monica's fat and disgusting and a whale.
After you cross the point of criticality. And that is made...
To review, Ken was saying, there is no coming back.
The cascade of losing all your income, losing all your jobs happens. Whether or not he admits to being right or wrong or pursuing help, it's unlikely that the places he worked at will rehire him. It's unlikely Funimation rehires him after going through therapy. It's unlikely Rooster Teeth does. It's unlikely conventions would come back and say, well, you've done therapy for a year or two. We'll bring you back. It's highly unlikely.
So that's a fair...
It's a fair point, Ron, because it's true. There's no way Rooster Teeth or Funimation were going to bring Vic back after an apology tour. The only way, I repeat, the only option to get Vic to Funimation was a lawsuit where they settled out, and rehiring him and a mutual apology or an explanation of misunderstanding was on the table. That's the only way Vic was ever going to get back to Funimation. And if you are trying to truthfully and objectively analyze this case, something that Law Twitter has never actually done, you will see that the only possibility of getting back to Funimation was through a settlement. That was it. You can't win it as a judgment. As a judgment, you can only win money. The court cannot compel Funimation to hire Vic. And you're not going to get it after you've been publicly fired. They publicly fired him for an investigation into sexual harassment or sexual misconduct. There was no possible way Funimation could not, in good conscience, bring him back after that. They can't. Because the second they do, think about it. Wait a minute, you said this guy was some sort of sexual abuser. How in fuck can you rehire him? And we should be asking those questions. If a company fires someone for this, there's no way they can hire them back. From a PR perspective, it's impossible. No amount of therapy. No amount of therapy. Look, I will forgive pedophiles who have reformed, but I will never let them watch my kids, right? Like, if there's a pedo priest who touched a kid and he serves his time and he does his jail time, and then he comes out and he says, I'm reformed, I'm like, great, I'm glad, I forgive you, so does Jesus, great. Don't go near a fucking kid ever again. You should never be in a place of power over anybody. I'm all for forgiveness. If someone steals money from me, I will forgive them. I will never give them access to my bank account. Funimation can't do that. It can't. Of course not. And it's stupid to assert anything to the contrary. But Ron is ultimately, at the end of the day, fucking stupid. So what? Why am I?
In history here.
And that's the thing where I feel like that everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I feel like he didn't get the opportunity.
No! This is a side personal pet peeve. Not everyone is entitled to their opinion. No one is entitled to their opinion. Earn your fucking opinions, bitches.
So you're looking at a guy who has done work, because I did have a bad reputation, who went.
You still do, you abusive piece of shit.
Through a long thing. Now, yes, mine wasn't about incidences with sexual indiscretion and stuff like that.
They probably should be, you fucking weirdo.
But I disagree in my heart that somebody can't rebound from this, because I feel like the world is evolving and they're understanding that people have.
The world is evolving towards your soy-filled sack of garbage way. And you know this, you lying cuck. Of course he can't come back, and no, the world will not forgive him. The world is evolving in the opposite direction of what you're saying. And you know it, because that's you. That's what you want. That's why you blocked your dad on Facebook, you pussy.
Toxic masculinity that needs to be resolved.
By the way, you're a fucking disgrace of a son and you're a bitch.
That people have in the past been racist, that can admit their faults and they can be redeemed. People can have...
He's lying about that because he lied about it with his own fucking dad.
Boundary issues that they didn't realize that were there, that can admit their shit and put some work in, and then over time could be accepted back in the community.
False. They will never be accepted back in the community. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be, for the community's sake. Why would they be?
But it has to be not the goal. Like when I started pursuing my goal to be a better human, it wasn't about being...
Try being a human first before you try to be a better one.
In an industry, it wasn't about being,
You're not in an industry. You didn't have the same impetus. You have a completely different fact set. Stop trying to analogize everything into your life. Your life is pointless. No one on earth fucking cares about Ron Toye, the gay loan officer. Nobody does. Not a single person cares about you. You weren't in an industry. You weren't in a community. You weren't thrown out of that community. Your job and your persona is just you. Like most people, you weren't in it. You weren't thrown out of it, and you have no basis for making these accusations or analyses about how you get back in it, because no community wants you in the first place. There's a massive difference. A massive difference. One that rivals your own fiance's size.
Making money. It was about looking on the inside, right? And I painted this picture. So I'm going to put this out to all three of you guys, right? What if, hypothetical, Vic stays with his current apology, didn't file the lawsuit. Imagine this. You said his apology wasn't good enough. Monica said his apology wasn't good enough. Everybody said his apology wasn't good enough. It wouldn't do shit. Starts doing video blogs about his therapy session, or just self-development, reading. He starts doing some stuff, right? Not even saying he goes all deep and admits everything that people have accused him from. Even
Ron now is backpedaling on not things he did, things people accuse him of, which is a completely different tone than he takes in the lawsuit, because he's a liar. Nut up, you pussy bitch, and just say it. You believe it. You put it in court documents under oath that you believe it. Put your balls on the fucking table.
Stays with his current statement that he put out, that he's, seeking help. He's going to reconnect with God. So he's talking about it. And now with coronavirus, it's been a year, no cons are going on, but he's been blogging about how he's learning and adapting and changing. What happens then? What could have happened by now if he didn't do the lawsuit, if there wasn't a bunch of atrocious things?
He's fucking dead in a ditch, you dildo. That was alliteration. By the way, let me talk to you about alliteration. Alliteration is the use of 3 consonant sounds at the same, at the start of 3 different words, or 3 or more, basically. Dead, ditch, and dildo is an example of alliteration. This is your English lesson for the day. Of course, he's not. Oh yeah, he'd be hired by all the cons. That's what would happen. He just quietly accepted the fact that that he's a sexual abuser, as you said, and then all the cons welcome him back.
Things said about one of the most respected ladies in the industry, and all this other stuff, right? What
Pressing X to doubt
could be the scenario right now? What would it look like? We don't know. He didn't get that. So what could it
It
look
would
like?
be unlikely he gets rehired.
Thank you, Ken.
I can state pretty confidently that no company is going to want to take that risk, because now you have to.
Look at this. Here, let me do an impression of Ron. Oh shit, Ken is right. Of course they're not going to take that risk.
Fired someone for allegedly doing these things potentially.
But that would never be
Whether or
public. The lawsuit wasn't. If it turmoil didn't happen with.
Oh yeah, it would have never been. It was already public. It was already public. You made it public. The entire anime community was talking about it. It was in articles that you've cited in your own lawsuit, you fucking liar.
Potentially.
But that would never be
Whether or
public. The lawsuit wasn't.
Whether-
If it turmoil didn't happen with Nick and all the other stuff, so let's pretend that.
He was fired before the lawsuit, though.
Thank
But
you.
it wasn't until the harassment kicked in with Nick's involvement in the.
No, nothing. Everything I did was post every fucking cancellation that Vic had. The moment I talked about Vic, from that point on, Vic was on an up track. I'm not taking credit for that, by the way. That is not me self-aggrandizing. I do not give myself credit. I'm not that type of person. I'm just saying, if you're putting on the timeline, Nick talks, all of the cancellations, all of them had occurred prior to me saying a fucking word. You lying piece of shit. Fuck you, Ron. This is why I won't talk to you, because you're a liar, you're a coward, and you're a sack of garbage. Every cancellation had happened prior to me saying a word. The moment I started talking up is when he gets invited back to Kamehacon and other cons announce him. After that point, you can almost say BN and AN. Before Nick, after Nick. Set that timeline there all you want. That's you doing it. But don't put on me any cancellations for this guy. Those cancellations had already occurred. Already. I suggest it's because an entire fucking community suddenly had a place where they could rally behind this guy. Again, I happen to be the person who was sort of that focal point. That's just timing and luck and my fortune or whatever. But there was a place where everybody could go who said, I don't buy this shit. And then there's 10,000 other fucking people right with him saying, I don't either. I don't buy this shit either. Hey man, let's band up. Let's talk to people about how much we like this. And then he goes to convention and comic shops and martial arts studios and he fucking blows the doors open. Whereas all your wife can blow the doors open over is a golden corral. Fuck you.
I'll put a pause on that for a moment, though.
Yeah.
Just because, let's just say this: you're making the assumption that you're in control of what other people think about you. That's not the case. Like, whatever Vic did from that point forward, he does not have control over what other people will hire him for, what other people invite him for. He just has control.
Right. Thank you for invalidating all of my points calmly.
he has control over what his actions are going to be. But the fact of the matter is, you're saying that this is more public because of Nick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That may be true for the greater whole, for the people that don't necessarily watch anime or whatever else.
Yeah.
But in terms of the anime conventions themselves, like, I was part.
Largely, the people who discovered Vic through me like him.
Of anime convention runner groups, etc. This was topics of conversation before anyone started talking about it online, because this is things that people that are in the industry are keen on and aware of. And while not, like, you know, Joe Schmo on the street who didn't know Vic Mignogna 16 months ago might know him now.
Right.
People in the convention scene would know him. And despite whatever else that goes on, if he hadn't filed this lawsuit, that would follow him for the rest of his career.
But the thing is, what you just mentioned, it was happened before the lawsuit was filed, right?
Yes, it all happened before the lawsuit was filed, you dummy.
You'd heard a little bit about things. But tell me, what was the net tangible benefit? What possible positive thing can happen from suing one of the biggest studios, Sony?
He can get rehired through settlement, you dumb fuck. That's why you sue an employer. Largely, especially in Vic's type of industry. Why you sue them? Because it gives... Wipe the table of everything you've ever heard. Funimation fires Vic and issues their statement. Funimation says countless times that their statement was not meant to imply that Vic Mignogna was found to be guilty of sexual assault or harassment. They say it over and over and over again in this lawsuit, okay? If the statement was a miscommunication, then it's pretty simple. I sue you. You lied about me. My fans think this about me because of what you said. Funimation says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Rather than fighting this out in court, we issue a statement that says, we didn't mean this. We were talking about other stuff. You agreed to make a statement that you love Funimation and are happy to work with us again, and we've worked out our differences. And then we agree to rehire you on some project in the future. There you go. What possible benefit could it be for suing your employer? That one. That's a possible benefit. Not only is it a possible benefit, it's a likely outcome in these types of solutions. The weird thing is Funimation not doing that and instead spending over $200,000 to avoid that simple fucking answer. All Funimation had to do, by the way, let's be real about this. All Funimation had to do was say, whoa, huge misunderstanding. Our investigation did not find Vic guilty of sexual misconduct in any way. However, we decided, due to the public backlash, that maybe we should part ways for a time. And we will consider hiring Vic in the future because there was no credible accusation of harassment or assault. They do that, they're out. They're done. That could have solved the entire thing. Funimation saves $200,000, doesn't have a lawsuit, doesn't have thousands and thousands of angry fans. That's it. Why the fuck do you think you sue a company, you dumb fucker? This is why you're not a lawyer. This is why law Twitter largely is retarded, because most of those 90 lawyers aren't actually lawyers. And the ones that are all glossed over the reality of suing for the point of having an opportunity to mediate a settlement. They all glossed over that. Wes Nile Chan says, big talk, Ron, but you'll always be an abuser, and that's why Monica refuses to upgrade to wife. Even if you believe your own crap, it's all self-serving when you get ass mad when people on the internet call you an abuser. Felipe Move says, only outcome I'll be happy with, the whales out of Funimation, Ron jobless, and Vic wins lawsuit and gets lots of dough. Hashtag fuck Monica. We'll see what happens to Monica after the lawsuit's over. Woodman Gaming says, Rickless Nikita, great job on the QI video. Got me all hot and bothered again for stuff I've been preaching for weeks. Been a while since I've had my eye on this. Is it still holding pattern for appeals? The VIX appeal is due in 3 calendar days on June 20th, Friday. Wait, that'd be Saturday. So I guess June 19th or whatever is when it'll go in. But yeah, that is when VIX appeal reply is due. I have it on good authority that that reply is not being drafted at the last minute, but is in its is well underway in its drafting. Some people have wondered whether or not Vic's reply brief will be drafted at the last minute, but I have it on good authority that that thing is currently being drafted and worked on by all of the attorneys involved, and so we should see it. And as soon as we do, I will present it to you guys.
The most influential anime industry, companies, Funimation, one of the most well-received and respected women in the anime industry, Monica.
You sue her because she fucking lied that you sexually assaulted her because she's a lying sack of garbage.
And then a random fucking dude who doesn't have anything to do with Funimation, and then
why were you so masturbatorially proud of yourself for your fucking Twitter barrage, you moron?
Putting in the lawsuit that he does and then getting laughed at, and then another super successful woman in anime. What?
Is Jamie Markey super successful in anime? No. Not really. And by the way, Vic wasn't getting laughed at by anybody other than a couple speds on Twitter. Who cares? And again, I know you guys know this, but I must say it for posterity. Vic suing. Vic standing up and saying, I didn't do this, was a place for his fans to go, thank God, I didn't think you did, but I was kind of worried about it. That's it. That's it. Tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people who are fans of Vic Mignogna all got to say, oh, thank God you said you didn't do this. All these people were saying you did, and I hadn't heard from you. And now you're here saying I didn't do this, and you're willing to go to court for it. Willing to possibly lose in court for it. Of course it was important for him to sue. Anybody who doesn't understand that is, frankly, lacking chromosomes. There's no other way to describe it. If you don't understand why Vic Mignogna sued, then you don't understand anything about being a public person. I don't know if it was ever about winning. Of course you want to win the lawsuit you file. But it's really about saying, I didn't do this. These people lied about me. At the end of the day, if Vic doesn't win, but he maintains his fans and he maintains his dignity and saying, I didn't do any of this stuff, then he still wins. It's still a net benefit.
Positive outcome could possibly come from that.
Well, he salvaged it. Yeah, he salvaged his job, didn't he?
But the thing,
and
also,
Funimation if he was fired properly.
right?
That's the point of the
we're also talking over top of each other again. Microphone problems. Sorry, gentlemen.
Ron has no idea. Oh, he saved his job. He preserved his reputation. Ron's like, what? He's not employed in Funimation anymore? He has no idea.
Oh.
No, I wanted to hear what Ken was saying because this is a great conversation. This is some real shit.
Yeah.
Like, what were you saying, Ken?
I was saying that the point of the lawsuit, and it's pretty much any lawsuit, you really don't want to go through the whole damn thing if you don't have to. It's so much time. It's so much. I mean, it's so much money. You know yourself.
Right. Fuck yeah, I do.
Fuck yeah, I do.
I know, right? The goal would have been to walk out of a room and say, all right, we did shit. You guys did shit. Let's figure this out. Okay, you're come. You know, the ideal thing would be Vic's back at Foundation and Rooster Teeth, whatever. And, you know, he makes some statements, does, you know, extra trainings or some shit.
Right.
That probably could have been figured out.
Right.
But
yeah, probably could have.
That was the goal. So
Probably could have, but you didn't fucking do it.
there is a positive goal from Vic's side of it to why he would pursue the lawsuit. That doesn't mean you guys see it that way, because you guys have your side of it. You guys have what your observations of it. I want to jump away from the lawsuit.
Brace for the lies
like
when
we can get in the weeds on this.
Ron eventually
And I want
gets
to
to
go
that.
back to the beginning of this.
Right.
What did you guys think would happen when, and I know you didn't know because you didn't find out till after, but what did you guys think would happen to Vic when this all came out? What was the goal?
Our goal didn't have Vic in mind. Our goal
Fucking liar!
was to speak the truth and just stand in our position of truth. And that was.
Can you even believe the lie right there? Ron has said in tons of tweets that he hoped Vix loses his job. He said tons of things that directly talked about how it would impact Vic. Fucking liar. Remember, Ron? Fuck all liars, right? Fuck you, you pussy.
The goal ultimately was to just be honest.
Did you have a thought about the impacts it would have cascading down the line?
And that's part of where it goes into it. And I can't be concerned with what his actions could do to him.
It's not his actions, you fucking liar. His actions all took place decades ago. Whatever they may be. Those things were long in the past. Those impacts have already occurred. It's now your words. You're a fucking liar.
I can just speak and be concerned with what my words will have weight. I knew when we spoke.
What, my words will have weight? Do you fucking English? English, motherfucker, do you speak it? What are you even saying here? Your words are going to have a direct consequence on someone's life. Did you consider the impact to him? You said no. Now you're saying yes. You don't know because you're a liar.
Woke up that potentially he could sue us. But I knew that if he tried to sue us, good luck, because we would win because we spoke the truth. And that's the part where people can have a disagreement all day long about the situation.
You can't have a disagreement over the truth objectively. The truth is just the truth. People disagree with you because you're fucking lying.
I wasn't concerned about certain things because I was concerned with the truth. However it comes of it, that
Your
is what
truth.
it is.
Remember,
and that's kind
our
of where
truth.
it all started, was speak the truth and see what the fuck happens after that.
That's bullshit, by the way. That's a flat out fucking lie. Monica participated in an investigation against Vic Mignogna. That's not just speaking the truth and seeing what happens. Ron gleefully recited that investigation over and over on Twitter. That's not just speaking the truth and seeing what happens. Ron said Vic should be removed, that he shouldn't be allowed to conventions. Ron talked about the consequences in his tweets. He's a fucking liar.
We have to figure in our actions into how it impacts other people.
Of course.
Just if we go back to, you know, your history with your spouses and moving forward,
Right.
you know, the things we do have an impact on other people. So coming out and saying, hey, Vic did this to me or did this to my partner, that's going to have a negative impact on the person you're making those statements about. So what? Well, I mean,
Could have an impact. No, it does, Ron. You're sitting there saying yes, yes, yes when you just said no to the same thing. Ken is pointing out that you are functionally stupid.
someone accuses me of sexual assault, accuses someone I know of it, or anything, any kind of sexual impropriety, that's a hell of a accusation to make. It's not a light one. And so I said before, I think I posted on the forums, if someone did that to me, it'd put my livelihood on the line. I'd be freaking the fuck out. I'd be upset. I've dealt with depression. I think I said before, I've twice tried to kill myself because of how bad things have gone.
I'm so sorry, Ken. No, you aren't. Stop. You don't even know this guy. You hated him a couple days ago. You don't give a shit about Ken Jennings' past suicides, attempts or thoughts. You don't care about his depression. Stop it. Stop lying.
We move past that. But I would be I'd be teetering on a dark ledge.
Yeah.
And I would expect almost
See how he said yeah?
Even someone who did do something wrong, you're still looking at your livelihood disappearing in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. You just said no.
Factor in, as part of, the healing process of working with any kind of abuse or assault or anything like that. The end goal, and I was working on this with clients not too long ago, on forgiving people who have hurt them in their lives.
Right.
It's not something they have to do.
Yeah.
It's not something.
Yeah.
But being able to forgive.
That's what he says when the strap
what
on
they did was right or wrong.
is
It just
latched
means
up. Yeah.
I can move past this.
Yeah.
Was it not possible to be done without doing what we did, though? Like, did it have to go down the way it did?
No, well, speaking up was our choice.
Yes, it was your choice. Again,
It only happened after he had issued his apology. The lawsuit wasn't our choice. We reacted to a lawsuit that was filed against us.
I don't mean the lawsuit.
$5 million.
I'm not talking. The lawsuit's immaterial at this point.
Right, and I feel like in the speaking up part, that is something that is a conviction, right? Like, for instance, I just got in a big fight today with my family because I posted about Black Lives Matter. I believe
you fucking white savior complex piece of shit cum stain.
That wholeheartedly. I believe that people should have the right to express themselves, and that there's been a complete horrible treatment of Black families in our country. My parents decided to chime in on my Facebook page, and my hero, my dad, I had to block him.
I had to block him. I had to block him. My hero. No, you didn't. You didn't have to block him. You are an abuser who has control issues, you fucking abusive coward. You didn't have to block him. You could just not be you for 30 fucking seconds.
So when we go up about that, when you speak up, there's consequences, right? It could be a block of your dad. It could be a lawsuit. But if you believe something, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Willing to sacrifice your dad.
$300,000. I blocked my dad.
You didn't put on the line 300 grand. It's 50 grand. Which one is it? It's 300 when it needs to be 300. It's 50 when it needs to be 50, right? You're a fucking liar. Felipe Move says, Nick, didn't Monica get a job in Funimation thanks to Bick being fired? The job he moved for? They profit from Vic's firing, right? I don't know. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if she became a director. I don't think so. But maybe she did.
That's why we did.
Why'd you have to block him, though? Why couldn't you forgive him for his statements and just move past it?
But see, as a therapist, Ken,
not as a therapist. A therapist
would you
can
encourage someone to allow an influence that could be damaging to come into their life, or should I be able to put a boundary in place that protects me?
Oh my God, you embarrassing sack of garbage. Just disagree with them and move the fuck on.
Me from people who are, in a sense, abusive in their situation when they're saying it's okay to be racist. And it's okay to say that I won't talk to you if you dated a person of another color, or if you had a kid from another color, I would disown you. So should I be able?
It's not okay to be racist. All right? But it's okay for someone else to be racist. This is the thing. And I'm really, really curious. I'm really, really curious about the actual interaction here. It is not any of your jobs to police the racism of any other person. You're only ever responsible for your own feelings, behaviors, perceptions, whatever. You don't have... So if... Who knows what was... Here's a hypothetical. Black Lives Matter. You know, some people are racist, though. How dare you? No. Like, it's okay that other people are racist. You know, you hope they're not. You hope that people just aren't prejudicial in general about any specific thing, that they take every... Of course, people are prejudicial about damn near everything. But it's not your fucking job. Especially as a white male, it's definitely not your job, Ron. Ugh.
Okay to put a boundary in place and
No.
block my parents from that?
It's not
or
okay.
should I just allow them to communicate with me and put their words onto my forum?
Yes! They're your parents! They raised you! Of course you should allow them to do it. And if you don't like it, just politely disagree or ignore it or talk to them in private. Literally anything other than blocking them. Shutting them out. Stonewalling is the coward's tactic. Listen, how far the soy has gone into Ron's ovaries is that he must block his own fucking dad because of a political disagreement. My dad would have been blocked a million years ago. I don't care what my dad's politics are. It's my dad. And you know what's crazy? Here's the really crazy thing. Ron's dad's his hero. In a lot of ways, my dad's my hero. When I disagree with him, I go, shit. Do I need to rethink this issue for a second because someone that I highly, highly respect thinks differently than I do? Am I considering everything? And then I run through it and I go, I'm good. Or I go, damn, I'm wrong. That's it. That's how it works. That's what you do with people you respect. So either you're lying about him being your hero for sympathy points, or you're just a piece of shit.
What would be
Define boundary, though?
What was
Because
that?
boundaries can be define boundary, though, because boundaries can be different things.
Blocking.
A boundary could be
Blocking.
a block. A boundary could be
Blocking.
you can build the mental boundary of, okay, this is my dad's opinions. My dad, for whatever reason, has the views of, you know, these racist beliefs for some reason.
Yeah.
And while I don't like them and I
he's a
don't agree
racist.
with them, this is one part of my dad, and I can accept the rest of him. You don't have to like that part of him. You can like the rest of him.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've got tons of people in my life that I do not like their politics.
I'm going to mildly disagree with Ken. It's not that you don't like the person, you just disagree. Like, you don't like, well, I don't like this part of my dad. No, you just disagree. It's okay. You're different people. You don't have to, if you agreed with everybody around you, you're in a cult, and that's fucking terrifying. Don't do that. It's okay to disagree with someone and be completely neutral an opinion about the qualities of that person because of it. If I did that, honestly, think about me and Drexel, right? Drexel's views on women and marriage are so antithetical to my relationship that if I were to dislike that part of him, I would have to dislike a obscene part of him. I get complaints all the time about how much Drexel talks about women and sex and blah, 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 which is fine. If I were to dislike that aspect of him, I'm disliking a critical factor of who he is, plus his history and how he got that way. I can't dislike that, but I can disagree with it, and it's just fucking fine. It's just fine. But as you'll see, by the way, when you take a look at the law Twitter people, right? Look at them. They're all Bernie bros. They're all pro Black Lives Matter. They want the same bullshit. It's the same. It's who they are. And they demand a purity of spirit that is beyond what you guys can comprehend, because you're not idiots. You're not. Lawyers can be idiots, by the way. Many lawyers are. They're just well-educated idiots. Same with lots of PhDs. Higher education doesn't give you wisdom. Higher education gives you specific knowledge and experience. That's it. These people have a uniformity of thought and political opinion that is terrifying. Ron is in that group. And it is a group that demands purity. All else be damned. And that explains a whole lot of shit, by the way.
I don't like some of their beliefs, but they're still in my life because I could separate that from the rest of them. Because if we did that with everyone, if we let one thing control the whole conversation, control the whole person, the whole relationship, you'd never have anyone in your life, because there's going to be something that you cannot agree on, that you will come to conflict on. Right. You know, a relationship is compromise.
True.
Whether it's a sexual relationship, whether it's an emotional one, whether it's family, it's all about compromise. And compromise can be, I don't like the fact that you have these racist opinions, but I'm going to walk away from that. But just don't talk to me about them. Don't bring them up to me. That can be your boundary.
That's fair. But I think that there should, like, in my opinion, there should be hard outs. Like I need to let them know, like, my red.
Then let them know. Blocking them? God, you're such a bitch.
And so my red in a relationship, or my I'm done with this interaction.
Wait
I can't
till
go
you
any
hear
further,
this shit.
Is when somebody tells a community, whether it be trans, gay, black, whatever, I can't, that's my limit. And that's when I'll say, you know,
when someone tells trans, gay, black, whatever, that's Ron's limit. I hope that's fucking clear to y'all, because it's clear to me. I know what Ron is saying when he says, when someone tells gay, trans, black, whatever, that's my red. Ron, that's not even a goddamn sentence, you weirdo. But here's the crazy thing. You know who is the most likely person to persuade someone to a different position? It's their friends, and actually their most trusted friends. Like a kid, an adult kid, is someone who a dad might look to and go, oh shit, I'm wrong on this issue. My son, whom I love and respect, thinks differently about this than me. Unless your dad doesn't respect you, Ron. Oh shit. Did we just stumble upon it? I think we did. Does your dad not respect you, Ron? As a man? Big yikes. Oh, that must be fucking embarrassing. I'm not going to make fun of that.
You know what? This relationship isn't worth it for me. And as much as my dad is my hero, a person that's going to tell a trans person or a person of color they're not worthy, fuck them.
Are you crying? Are you crying? You're crying. You're on the live stream. You're crying. You know, black person or a trans person, they're not worthy. Fuck them. Oh my God, you're crying.
That's my dream.
I like to just jump in here just for a quick second or two. Right. One of the few things that we were talking about before you came on the show was was it Sally, Julie mad at me because I haven't talked to them? And one of the few things about social media that I found from a very, very personal level and for what it's worth is that I really found that social media, allowed to be Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever the case may be, really interferes with the actual communication process, because basically through texting, typing, whatever the case may be, you cannot actually see or hear what they're actually saying or what they're actually trying to portray through that. So the thing is that instead of blocking your dad, which probably maybe the best thing to do at this point in time.
No, right? It wasn't.
Will you plan
Sorry,
to
Ron,
talk to
I
him
love
and say,
you, but no.
Hey, Dad, look, this really fucking hurt me. Why did you say X, Y, and Z, especially in this political climate we're in, especially where I'm coming from this lawsuit stuff online, blah, 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 blah. Do you realize the actions you took on this stupid platform on my Facebook wall impact me to this level? Because basically the things is that I honestly feel if you love somebody, especially when you just called your dad your hero, for goodness sakes. Obviously, with people like myself, things when I say I love someone or I care about someone and they're my friend, I will not be disingenuous with them. I will go up and say, hey, look, and this is talking to them face to face, over the phone, or any form of communication like I possibly can. Say, look, what you just did bugged me so much, it drove me to this point. And the thing is, it's talking about red coming towards lines. Everyone has those boundaries. And the thing is that sometimes we don't effectively communicate those particular boundaries. So as a suggestion, something that I would do if I were you is talk to your dad when you're a little more settled, a little more calm, and say, look, this is what bugged me. Because the thing is, the same time here, for my particular social media, I don't let my family get involved with it just because they see something and go, oh my God, Ron is being jumped on, we're going to save him, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, do I need this headache? And the answer is no, I do not. So that's a separation I have. And on top of all that, especially dealing with media, because everyone in this particular conversation could completely relate to is that there's a lot of people who are very, very passionate when they get involved with things. And sometimes they don't know the full picture, even myself included, and people who are like to come after me and the things I do and stuff like that. They don't know the whole picture, and sometimes they don't deserve to know the whole thing, because it comes down to it, it's none of their business. Right. So basically, I'm not put the emphasis on me. I'm going to get back to neutral here. So basically, the thing is that, as a suggestion from one Ron to another, talk to your dad, take him off block, tell him where you're coming from, and basically try to resolve the issue over the phone. Or in person. Because the thing is,
if you guys here, I'm going to be an apologist for Cress and Ron Hop. If you don't understand the kid gloves that they have to wear with Ron Toye, realize that he blocked his own dad over a political opinion. If you have any criticisms of this interview and how they conducted it, you have to lens that with the fact that the soy-filled bitch will run at any possible opportunity to the point of blocking his own dad for a political opinion. So while I kind of disagree with how soft Ron Hop is being here, I like him. I like Ron. He's really nice. He's great. But I get what he's doing here, and they have to be as Canadian as fucking possible.
Is that when you block somebody and stuff like that, because I've been through this, especially people who are very important to me, I'm going, what the fuck did I do? What's going on? And the thing is, I don't know that. The only thing I see is there's not access to X, Y, and Z, and that gets me more furious. So again, I just want to jump in there very quickly. I apologize for interrupting, Ken.
Stop apologizing, you damn
So
Canadian.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's fair, and that's where I'm just setting the boundary to where I can process my feelings.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say something that could damage our relationship. So it's like a temporary block. Let me block you so I can gather.
There is no temporary block. You block me, you did damage the relationship. You said everything you need to say. I'm afraid of your opinion, and I don't respect you enough to talk about it. I can't imagine blocking my own father on Facebook, and I don't even use it.
Gather my shit, figure out how I feel, and then communicate.
Control. By the way, guys, I got a message from Lady Rackets. I just wanted to let you know. I believe this is so far off topic. Lady Rackets will probably be joining us tonight for House of 1,000 Corpses on Twitch, and I'm more excited than ever that she will be here to add her commentary as well. So if you guys are looking forward to House of 1,000 Corpses on Twitch, Lady fucking Rackets, I believe will be with me. So there we go. I'm supposed to go wake her up from a nap. So, okay, back to this.
And that's part of the process. And so for now, it's just something where I can bifurcate my life. I need to still be
Bifurcate your vagina.
I need to handle this situation when I'm not emotional, because right now it's still raw.
Yeah, of course.
So that's just how it is. You know, I have to block for a minute, but I 100% agree with you that I will eventually call them and have a heart-to-heart, because I think that in any situation, there is that's what's so powerful and moving about this. It's a dichotomy. While everything happens, there's a human side to both. And I see that, and that people are hurting, and it sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
So I want to. Sorry, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I'm going to just add on to what Mr. Hop had said a little bit here, but also expand on it. So social media has given us a way to kind of have that immediate reaction and everything else like that. And I do think that separating yourself at that point was the appropriate move and giving yourself a bit of breathing space. So I mean, kudos for making
Cress,
that decision.
but I know what you're doing.
One thing that you do have to be very keenly aware of is it's very, very easy to get comfortable. And this is something for everybody, just not just yourself here, Ron. This is something for everybody. It's very, very easy to get comfortable, to create basically an insulated box for yourself to be in, where people just agree with you. It's very difficult to be a good friend. It's very difficult to be the good friend. Like, I know it's something I struggled with for many, many years. And like, I did stuff to try and make people happy. I did stuff to try and appease people, what have you. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, if I'm sitting here and like I'm enabling, it's like Mr. Hop, for example, if I'm enabling him to if I see that he's doing something bad, or if he's doing something that is damaging him, and I let that happen, and if I encourage him to keep doing it, that makes me a terrible person, right? Mm-hmm. Like, while Mr. Hop is doing something that is detrimental to him and detrimental to others, and I'm actively encouraging that, and, you know, for the sake of, I don't want to hurt his feelings and I don't want to hurt that relationship, that's badly reflective on me. Right. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength to stand up and say, hey, this is something. And it may take time. Like, it may take some you step back and say, okay, I need to evaluate how I approach this. But you go to that person and say, hey, you've been doing this stuff. I've been hearing this stuff about you. You've been doing X, Y, or Z. That's not cool. Maybe you should rethink about doing that. And then put that back in their court to reevaluate. Give them time to try and fix it. And if that doesn't fix, then then you have to take action from there. Like, for myself, like, you say that your dad's your hero, right? Like, my parents did a lot for me. Had this, that, and the other thing happen growing up, sure, but eventually came to an understanding of what kind of people they were. When I came out as trans, my parents didn't support it. I mean, they tolerate it, but they still reference me in the wrong name. They still reference me in the wrong gender. So they don't accept that, and I don't
block them. Block them, Cress. Block them immediately. How dare they?
block them out. I let them know, hey,
Oh,
this
fuck,
is something
I
that
was
hurts
wrong.
me, and if they continue to keep doing it, then I start peeling back a bit more, and they're suffering the consequences of not being accepting,
Right.
and that's what it has to come down to. It's like you have to let them know what your line is, and you have to let them know what the consequences of that are going to be, and then follow through with that. So
Because basically everyone can't guess what your boundaries are
Right.
if you do not effectively communicate that. Because the thing is that, as an example, let's go back to yours truly. If I cross over a line, I'm not doing it to be an asshole.
Right.
I just crossed over a line that I honestly didn't realize. And at the same time, I'm going through my own particular problems right now, both mental and physical. Like, unfortunately, my type 2 diabetes has gotten the best of me. And unfortunately, some other complications have been taking place. And the thing is that's unfortunately has laid me in a little bit of therapy myself these days. Just because the thing is working through that, getting through that and stuff like that. But however, getting back to base here, it's very important to effectively communicate with that, because if you don't have that, then how are people supposed to know what's going on? What did I do to get Sally upset with me and stuff like that?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And that's the
It's literally the fucking opposite of everything you just said. Yeah. Right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
part about is just communicating and doing that.
Blocking is not communicating, except it's communicating a middle finger right in your dad's asshole, you weirdo.
It's like, Cress, I am so sorry your parents are like that.
He's crying again! He's crying for Cress! Stop! Stop it! Cress doesn't need you to save her! Black people don't need you to save them! You're just a white soybean with clothes on! Fuck off! Stop crying!
It's something that I've accepted and then, like, I've grew up with. Like, I had the issues like early on when my parents got divorced when I was a lot younger. Like, I had a lot of that internal struggle, a lot of that coming.
He's crying still. Stop it.
To terms with things, and I understand who they are and why they made those decisions. And so later on in life, when it came to like coming to terms that, okay, they don't accept that part of me, like only one person in my family does, and that's fine. I have a great relationship with her. Other people are jealous of her because we talk all the time and they don't understand it, but I keep telling them, it's like, this is why I'm not having that close relationship with you, because you're not accepting of that. So it's just one of those things. Like, I'm past the point of being upset about it. It's just a fact of life. So
But it just sucks. You know what I mean? Like, you're a human.
Oh, thanks, Ron. Thanks for that insightful comment. I didn't know Cress was a human. Oh, Jesus. Now my opinion is different. God, you're such a fuck. You are such a fuck. Nobody thinks like you. And the people that do aren't people. You're a human. Everybody knows. Jesus Christ. Nova Zero. Says, you won't make fun of it, Nikki, but I will. I'll use your lips to do it. Ron's daddy wasn't home, and his daddy doesn't respect him as a man because he's a simp cunny after all that honey and big tubby money. Be a meanie, Nikki.
And our parents mean something to us, and I'm proud of you for being where you are.
I'm proud of you. You're not proud
If
of
my
Cress.
son had
God,
made
you
the decision
liar.
that you did, I'd be
This
proud.
is the shit. There are plenty of people who can be proud of Cress. Okay? There are plenty of people who can be proud of Cress. Ron isn't. Ron is pandering because Ron doesn't fucking know Cress. Ron doesn't know these people. He has no investment in their lives. And to say that he's proud is just a fucking dog whistle. He's just I'm an ally. Why? You don't know Cress. You may hate every opinion Cress has. You know nothing about Cress. All you know is trans box ticked. I must placate. What the fuck? That is the most offensive shit you could possibly be. You're not assessing Cress as a person. You're assessing Cress as a trans. End of story. You care literally nothing about this person. You're a fucking liar. This is why you're the worst people to help blacks. Cause you think of them as blacks rather than as fucking people who are black. You're disgusting, Ron. You're the racist.
You know what I mean? Like, I want him to feel happy in whatever transition, and he's never had to. I've had that communication with him early.
I have a trans relative
that's
too.
That's not an issue with me. Whatever, I want him happy.
Fuck off.
And I'm proud of you.
Why?
Okay. Well, and I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. And
Thanks,
I'm going to kind of segue into a topic here with another unfair question for you. So
I'm being sad. Shit,
kind of along the same lines here, because like I can see that you know this the way that your dad kind of let you down in this, it really hurt you and everything else like that. So because of the way that you've been your upbringing and stuff like that, I don't know. You've talked about it a lot. I don't know if you've finally been able to resolve all the stuff that you had when you were growing up. Do you at all see, and this is something like, again, unfair question, do you at all see that the perception that you have of, say, Ty or Nick or Vic or anything like that, that is an extension of how you were treated as a child or anything like that?
That's a good question. So I don't have as many hard feelings towards Vic as I do as Ty and his team. Again, going back to professionals, Vic did what he had to do because of the things that you had mentioned earlier. He was freaking out. He didn't know what to do. It's his career, blah, blah, blah. So I get it.
You get it, but you lie. You're lying again. You're lying again. You don't get it. You wanted Vic to not be sued. You wanted to not be sued by Vic. Despite your hand and what happened to him, you wanted to not be sued by Vic. By the way, guys, I just made a tweet. I hate making tweets live on air, but I just made one. And, you know, it's a challenge to all of you.
My issues with the professionals.
No, it isn't.
I don't view Ty and Nick. My opinion of Ty and Nick is probably one that I have more respect for literally any other human being on the planet.
Literally any other human being on the planet. Murderers, rapists, actual racists, ISIS members, politicians, pedophiles. Ron respects pedophiles more than me and Ty because we fucked his life up. What a fucking gamer word Ron Toye is. Do you hear it? Literally any person on the earth more than Ty and Nick. No badge of honor can be worn bigger than that one.
Than both of those two people, because I feel like they did things and spoke to things that hurt people.
So did you fucking liar. You lying cockbag. You receptacle.
Without
You made an interesting set. Oh, go ahead.
Without even thinking about it, because there are.
Wrong. I thought about it a lot. I thought about it a fucking ton. That's the thing, Ron. I did it thinking about it. There's lots of thought involved. There's thought involved in every show that I do. When I call your fiance a fat fucking whale, fat disgusting whale, whatever pissed you off the most, I do it with the full knowledge, the fullest of knowledge, that it will hurt you. Here's the problem, Ron. I think your feelings are fake and irrelevant. I also think your fiance is a fat, disgusting whale. And you're going to have a hard time showing me otherwise, buddy. Cal Clay says, hey, Nick, using SJW Twitter, can Monica be canceled for voicing Spanish general with accent and dialogue? Also, do you let Drex like horror? The Loved Ones I saw 10 years ago and never forgot a second of it. People I know avoid as too scary. The Loved Ones? Drex and I love horror movies. Yes, I'll check it out. Check it out. Felipe Mube says, not sure about Lady Racket's comments on horror. She lacks common and aesthetic senses by marrying you and high pain tolerance by staying married. True. Yeah. No. Okay. God, I just... Okay, anyway. So, how dare he? How dare he say that I didn't consider my insults? No, Ron, all of my insults are considered. All of them. They're insults. How dare you cheapen my craft?
Kids that are hurting, and they...
No, I care about the kids who are hurting. That's the difference. Your fat, disgusting whale of a fiance only cares about the kids who are hurting because of it's a business proposition. Hey, Ron, let me fucking tell you, the kids who are hurting in the anime community are not a business proposition to me. I am not an anime. I'm not in the anime community. I don't enter the anime community. I don't reach out to the anime community. I go to conventions. I don't charge for autographs. I just hang out and report on the convention, and I talk to people. That's it. That's literally it. That's it. Your wife, fiance, whatever, goes to them and sees dollar signs on each of their foreheads when they walk up. She doesn't even know their name. She doesn't care. That's because it's just her business. It's not my business. I actually do care about the people you hurt because you severed their relationship with someone who does care about them. I care that you lied about a man and ruined his life. I care that you convinced other people to hate a man on false accusations. But I care on the principle. I don't know those people, but you certainly fucking don't. So fuck you.
Deserve better. That's my opinion. They were trying to do what they thought was right, but in my opinion, I think they hurt people.
Oh, you spoke.
We didn't hurt people. We hurt you. We hurt you. Fuck you. You deserved it. Midnight in Exile says, everything about Ron makes sense if he's female to male. High voice, roid rage, one-dimensional idea of manhood, overcompensation. All of it finally makes sense if Ron is a female to male trans. The tears are a signal to Cress.
There's something interesting at the beginning that I wanted to bring up earlier, but I didn't get a chance to. You stated you see Nick as some sort of abuser.
He's still crying! He's still crying.
Abuser to you and Monaco. Why is that, if you don't mind me asking?
I think, and the thing about Nick is, and that's the part that sucks, because if you look at Nick, let me gather myself for a sec.
You gotta stop crying!
Very gregarious. He is infectious, and I think he has a lot of potential. But
infectious like a disease, baby. I'm COVID, honey. Coming for your lungs, bitch.
The reason why I see him is before Nick got involved, it was people online, the typical shit. But when he got involved, if you go back and watch it and watch his videos, it's almost like there's moments of rallying cries. Maybe he didn't mean it intentionally, but kids.
Not what you think, Ron, but yes, I meant it intentionally. What you think is I mean a rallying cry for harassment and harm. That's not true. Rallying cry for Vic and for standing up against this bullshit cancel culture? Abso-fucking-lutely! Yeah! For the fans, motherfucker! Stop canceling people over false accusations. Fuck you. Fuck everybody. Yes! Absolutely, it's a rallying cry. Make me your anchor. Make whoever you need to be your anchor. Fuck all y'all.
Take what he says and then implement that, or people. When I say kids, I don't mean to
Good people, yeah.
When I say kids, I don't mean to minimize people. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Ron. Of course you do. Felipe Mouve says, "Hey Nick, you know we love you. You know I'm in the Don Rickles school of showing love and respect." I know, buddy. I know.
People in general, wizards online.
Wizards!
They took that and used it to bully and harass. And so, you know, looking at it like objectively.
Are you still crying?
I want to talk to Nick because I don't like having hate in my heart for anyone.
Then stop having hate in your heart. What is wrong with you? I don't hate you. I just think you're a degenerate pile of trash. Newsflash, Ron. I think lots of people are degenerate piles of trash. I get along with those people too. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Why do you hate anybody other than yourself? Because yourself is the worst person you know.
So I would love the opportunity to sit down, like we were talking last time, Mr. Hop, like about getting into a fist fight and it's over, right? And you can be friends with somebody. I
have a reach advantage.
feel like if Nick knew me as a person, he'd realize that I'm an asshole at times.
I know you're an asshole at times. I don't hate you. I just think you're a goofy pile of trash.
I'm pretty funny occasionally.
Nope.
And I'm just a human being who fucks up, but just like everyone else. And so why I see him so adversarial is because of the level that he has committed himself to hate. And to say on there, I want them.
No hate. There's no hate. I find you disgusting. I find your position awful. Yeah, and he's going to bring up my famous quote. I want them ground into dust. Yes. I want you ground into dust. I want these people. Anybody who falsely accuses someone to ruin, for the purposes of ruining their career, you're taking away a man's livelihood or a woman's livelihood. It doesn't matter. The women don't get canceled in the same way most of the time. Usually it's men. You're taking away a man's livelihood over falsehoods or frankly fucking inanity. And you're hyperbolizing it and conflating it and making it into something that it's not, for the purpose of destroying them. Destroying what makes people fulfilled is disgusting. I hope you get grounded to dust. I hope I get to piss on the dust and make it into a clay.
Ground into the dust. I want this. I want that. And just go on and on and on for over a year and a half.
That's you! You guys gave me a year and a half of material. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I didn't expect it. A lawsuit was coming. Lawsuit happens. It's supposed to be months of quiet. Every other lawsuit I covered, every lawsuit I'm in, months of quiet. You employed the most stupidly funny attorney you possibly could. I'm Jay Sean Lemoyne. I'm here to represent Ron, Toye, and Monica Rial 2 women hurt by Vic Mignogna. You gave me all of the material I could possibly ask for. That's your fault. It should have been months of silence. You responded. Ron talks a lot of shit about Ty Beard. Ty went on these shows and he did this thing. Lemoyne didn't go on shows, but Lemoyne did a bunch of fucking bullshit in motion practice that was unnecessary. Hey, Ron, remember when you said, I know where you live, I know where your grandmother lives, and you had your lawyer try to serve me at a house that I still own, but is not my primary residence. You had your lawyer do that, and you put it in the legal documents and then gave it to Law Twitter so they would share. Remember, Ron? Remember when your Law Twitter cronies just miraculously happened to find my grandfather's will, and how your lawyer just happened to bring up my grandfather and grandmother over and over and over again? Remember that, Ron? That was you guys. You guys gave me the material. You didn't have to do it. There was no material. File your TCPA and end it. You didn't even have to do the depositions. You didn't even have to do depositions. You could have just filed your TCPA immediately, but you didn't because you wanted. This is the biggest disingenuous part of Ron that is being unspoken. Ron and Monica wanted the publicity. They just miscalculated the outcome. Let me say it again. Ron and Monica wanted the publicity. They just miscalculated the outcome. The way they acted, the way their counsel acted. Remember, Ron, if his counsel was making him look stupid, would publicly confront him and say, no, I don't agree. I'm going to talk to your managing partner and get you fired. Ron never did that. Never once. Even when Lemoyne was making him look stupid, when he's going after me, when he's going after Slaytosh, when he's doing all these things that Chup disagrees with, all of those times, Ron never stopped Lemoyne from any of that, despite his protestations that he would. So the only logical conclusion that we can come to is that Ron wanted everything that Lemoyne did. So all of the times Lemoyne gave me material by being a fucking idiot, all of those times that he referenced me specifically, knowing that I would address them, all the times Ron admittedly hired someone to watch my show and transcribe it, that's all on Ron. None of that would have happened without him. I can't make material out of nothing. And I do plenty of shows that have nothing to do with Vic or anime. In fact, right now, full honesty and transparency, I prefer shows that don't involve Vic, because there's not much to talk about. I mean, these Ronversations are a special case because Ron gave me hours of material. Other than that, you notice I'm not talking about Vic on live streams. I'm talking about Keemstar. I'm talking about the Supreme Court. I'm with Drexel hanging out and just laughing. I'm talking big brain panel on this COVID shit and the government overreach and cops. That's what I care about. I'm a defense attorney. That's what I actually want to talk about on a daily basis. I avoid Vic shows as much as possible lately because I think people are burned out on them. And there's nothing to say until Ron gives me hours of material. Anyway, Nyx Hex says, hate like love is an action. If you don't want hate in your heart, simply don't do the hating. That is your decision, Ron. Absolutely. Morty J says, paying tribute to my favorite shock jock. Listen, I'm shocking that jock every night. Let that war cry echo, Nikki, for the fans. By the way, Ron, your wife is still a whale. I would say we could settle this like a man, but that'd be a lie on your case. Damn. Damn. All right, let's do, we're going to do 5 to 10 minutes more. And then we'll wrap up the chats.
Have I posted any videos, anything? Have I no. And the
you didn't have to, Ron. First of all, let's briefly address this. This is a disingenuous argument for Ron. Ron Toye has no subscriber base on YouTube. It would be completely pointless for Ron to post any videos. Of course not. Second, at the time I enter the lawsuit and start talking about this at all, Ron Toye's damage is mostly done. Vic is already fired. Vic is already canceled. Ron has specifically interfered with his Kamehacon contract. He's making false equivalencies because he's fucking stupid. And I can't express enough. Ron is either the world's biggest liar or Ron is clinically stupid. I think both, it's somewhere in between both of those. But of course you're not making videos. You don't need to. You accomplish your goal. There's literally nothing else for you to do now other than defend yourself in court. You don't have any impact anymore. I took that control from you. Hey, Ron, you got cucked out of control by a Minnesota lawyer. And I know that's what's got you angry. Someone 1,000 miles away from you made you watch and furiously hate masturbate in the corner. While I took control of the narrative and you couldn't do shit. You retreated to your hug box because you're a soy bitch. You've never been able to control it. That's why you're going on all these interviews now. You think you can wrestle it back. Well, let's wrestle, baby. Let's wrestle. Squally says, I hate horror films, but I'm so pumped for the Twitch watch of House of 1,000 Corpses. Hashtag let's go grifter. Hashtag for the fans. All right, here we go.
The truth is, it's in the record. I've corrected people when they've misappropriated certain actions.
It's not in the record.
And that's where it's like frustrating on his side because, and that's what sucks because this takes it outside of Vic, right? But unfortunately, because he's the person that's been really pushing for this stuff, he becomes an integral figure.
No.
And that's what kind of makes us shitty because if, say, no Vic, no Ty, he chooses some other people, he goes about this lawsuit, we communicate, who knows what.
This is a lie. This is a huge, huge lie. From the time I enter, February 11th, the first time I talk about this, that's what Doug on my stream. Then again on February 13th or something like that. Someone posted the time, the dates in the last video. To the time that the lawsuit is filed is over 2 months. There's over 2 months of time. They never once, to my knowledge, attempted to discuss things. Ron called Ty's law firm on a Saturday and never followed up. That's it. That's all anyone ever did. Their lawyers, their counsel did not reach out for settlement. When they had the opportunity at mediation, they didn't discuss settlement. They had 2 months prior to the lawsuit to discuss settlement. They had every day up until depositions to discuss settlement. Never fucking once. Ron is lying here, flat out. Anyone who sued Ron and Monica would get the same treatment, whether it was Ty or anybody else. They were not going to settle. And him pretending like they were going to is a lie.
What could happen today, but we won't have that opportunity because they tried to make us and grind us and try to make us look like bad people.
You are bad people.
And I've received, my companies and different places have received emails and different threats and different.
Let me just say it again. Nobody should reach out to Ron's company. Nobody should interfere with these people's lives. Nobody should talk to them, harass them, or anything else. But fuck you and good. I'm glad you got it. No one should do it, but fuck off. Fuck off. This is literally what you did. You reached out to Kamea to talk about Vic. Fuck you. My company got complaints about me. Fuck you. You literally do this to people. You're a sack of shit. You're a hypocrite. You're mad that it happened to you. By the way, call Rekieta Law. I would. Oh, God, I hope you call Rekieta Law and complain. It'd be great.
Stuff, and people have been tweeting about me, accusing me of stuff. And anytime.
That's because you're guilty of it. I don't care what it is. If it's murder, you did that too. Fuck you.
I try to chime in, it's like, oh, well, you said in your deposition that you would ignore it. Well, I can ignore it in the sense that I'm not going to file a lawsuit, or maybe I'll think about it. But
that's not the same thing. I'll ignore it, and I'm not going to file a lawsuit are two different things. You said under oath you'd ignore it. You pedophile fuck. Right? People call you a pedophile. You're just going to ignore it. Right, Ron? Right? If 3 people call you a pedophile, well, I guess you should be fired, you fucker. Right, Ron? Right? I'm not going to ignore you. Did you lie under oath then? You lied, didn't you? Because you're a bitch.
In the end, I'm not going to pursue it. But they use those things to instigate and try to pick.
Oh, damn.
And that's the part that's frustrating is like, I feel like if he didn't get involved, this would not be to this level. Like, I'm a
good. Fuck you again. I'd get involved 100 times. I'd get involved harder if I could go back and do it again. I'd come to your house and pee in your coffee.
Okay with somebody suing me. I knew that I was potentially going to be.
You're not okay with somebody suing you. That's the whole thing. You wanted other counsel to advise Vic against suing you. You're a liar. You're lying in the same discussion. You're saying 2 different things. Fuck you.
Sued by my state when we talked. That's okay.
Let me ask this then.
Go ahead.
Why do you think Nick hates you? Because that's an important question.
Because he hasn't taken a second of time to really look into this with an objective mindset.
Wrong. That is categorically wrong. I looked at this objectively. I've asked anybody. I've begged Ron and Monica to provide the evidence that they have. Please provide me anything that shows that Vic did any of this. Provide anything. Anything. I never want to defend a sexual assaulter, a pedophile, a rapist. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like those cases. I don't like any of that. Don't like it. So please, give me anything. You've promised a lot and never once delivered. I've looked at this objectively. You can't substantiate your claims. You got your claims from a forum called Pretty Ugly Little Liars, who admit to lying about things. Everyone I've talked to, I have tracked down alleged police reports. Nothing. That was a lie. I talked to a guy who said, oh, Vic groped a woman's breast in front of me. I'm like, holy shit, tell me all about it. Well, it wasn't actually a grope of her breast. What it actually was he put his hand around her waist and the top of his knuckle on one finger brushed the bottom of her breast. That's not a fucking grope, you weirdo. Everything I've begged you to give me anything. No one has provided shit. Everything that Vic is accused of, every single thing has a well but attached to it. And the well but is always big. It's always bigger than Monica's well but. It's fucking huge. It's well but I was fine with it at the time. Well but, you know, he kissed me on the cheek and it didn't matter then, but it matters now. Well, fuck you then. Well, but I stood in line for hours and watched everyone in front of me get hugged, but looking back on it, maybe I shouldn't have been hugged. Well, fuck you. That's not a thing. That's not true, Ron. I have begged for the evidence. And by the way, I have asked Vic on numerous occasions, probably offensive levels of occasions. I wouldn't be surprised if Vic was actually mad at me because I keep asking him. I say, hey, is anything true? And he says, no, none of it. No. I said, Vic, anything. I'll support you even if something is true. Just tell me, just so I know it's true. Please, please, let me know it's true or false. Nothing. Nothing. It's all a lie. Like, please, though. Like, what about this thing? No, that never happened. What about this thing? No, that never happened. Anything, is any of this true? Please just tell me. I'll still be your friend. I've got to know. I can't be out there with my dick in my hands and someone posting a video of something that's that you say isn't true. No, nothing. And no one ever has posted anything. Please, please tell me what's true. None of it. I've got nothing. You think I haven't looked at this objectively, you fucking sad cuck? Of course I have. I'm a defense attorney. I ask all my clients to tell me the worst thing they've ever done. Vic's not my client, but I approach the situation the same way. Tell me what the worst thing I'm gonna find out is. I have to know. Tell me. What's the worst thing people have on you? It's nothing. Nothing. I'm begging you, Ron. Prove me wrong. Please. You're the only people. You're the ones who say you have the skeletons. Produce them. Been asking you for 17 months. Show me. You say I haven't looked at this objectively. That's because you're not looking at it objectively. Of course I am. If you came out with some concrete evidence against Vic tomorrow, I would still be friendly with him, still be his friend. I would talk about it immediately. Guys can't.
I would disagree with you on that in a sense.
Yeah.
I've watched pretty much every single video of Nick since this started.
Sure.
And
thanks, Ken. Big ups, Ken Jennings.
I think he's tried to take this from a, and this is his side of it too, from a perception of this is a really complex situation. It's causing a kind of stir in the community, and he gets drug into it. Oh, you're a lawyer. What's going on? Can you so he gets drug into it. So he analyzes.
True facts. I had no idea who Vic Mignogna was. No idea about his situation. People asked me about it.
What's going on, and from what he's seeing from the evidence presented, which is also the evidence everyone else sees, he goes, well, this doesn't hold water. There's a lot of holes in this bucket. And so he's seeing this information that doesn't appear valid on some grounds. He then also sees someone who's being severely impacted by it And, as I was telling Carmen, Mr. Hop before you jumped on, I would not be surprised. And, if Vic got into a very dark place, and he's seeing a therapist and he was on medication by the time of the deposition, which is only a few months.
Yeah.
So I think Nick has his reasons for why he's upset by that, and why he feels the way he does, because in his eyes, you and Monica and everyone else could have pushed him to killing himself, and that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't like saying that lightly. So is his hate for you justified? I don't know.
Right.
He has his reasons. But to come back to it, you have, you stated that, Nick has said all this stuff and he's made statements. But I've watched on multiple occasions him say to leave you guys the fuck alone.
I could second that.
And it's been on more than one occasion. He wants you guys to be left alone. He doesn't want anyone to fuck with you.
Right.
And it appears to be...
Right. He did do that only more times than I have for anything else in my life. In an abundance of caution. I never tell people what to do. I hate it. I hate it. Because I hate when people tell me what to do. I have begged the internet over and over to please not bother you. Out of an abundance of caution. Because I specifically don't want people to bother you. Don't. Never did. And I've said over and over, if you guys got death threats, it sucks. You should never be in fear in your own home. I've said if you've got harassment, that sucks. I've said if people called your office, that sucks. I say now good, it's your own medicine, but over and over and over, more than I've done for anybody else. I don't ask the internet to do shit. I think it's poor taste. I think it's bad. But I have asked them over and over not to insult you. Or actually insult the shit out of them. Not to reach out to you. Not to communicate to you or with you. Not to reach into your lives in a place that you can't easily ignore. That's it. Most people I don't say anything about. Scully says, after examining all the evidence, as an objective lefty, I can say at most Vic is a womanizer, which we know isn't illegal nor even wrong. If yes, cancel Leo and RDJ. Yeah, Vic may be a womanizer, although I think even that's overstated. As far as Vic's status, Vic has the potential to be one of the best womanizers in the anime industry, and he's not. He's actually not. That's the crazy thing. He has that rock star status. He could be signing tits all day. He could be signing ass cheeks all day. And then he could be putting it down on tits and ass cheeks all day. And he doesn't do that. That's not who he is. Uziel says, I'm 50 minutes behind at the part where you mention Bernie bros. I myself am a Bernie bro. There's certain politics I agree with. I'm for healthcare for all. I'm for money out of politics. Law Twitter, however, do not speak for me. They are nuts. And of course, Law Twitter are not representative of Bernie bros. I'm saying that they have a uniform opinion. It's not that they're uniform with all of Bernie bros. It's just that all of Law Twitter happen to be strong left in their political opinions, which is fine. But they're not looking at this through a lens of objectivity or through a lens of conservatism or anything like that. It's all through the lens of Bernie bros, which is it's a particular lens. My point is more the uniformity and less the status of what it is. Okay, couple more minutes.
Be sincere. And I don't think it's like don't fuck with him, but actually do. It's
giant
like,
wink.
Leave him alone. Yeah, it's not a giant wink from what I can tell.
Yeah.
So he's only in control of him. How does he control everyone else?
And also from a broadcast perspective as well, for someone to actually say that during their broadcast and earnestly mean that, that has some weight and validity behind that as well. Yeah. Because the thing is, if people are pointing the fingers, get this person, blah, 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 that's a whole other ballpark. But the thing is, again, you can tell with his mannerism.
Importantly, that's legitimately what Ron and Monica did. I don't think that can be overstated. That's what they actually did to Vic. Ron specifically, publicly, Monica more behind the scenes. That's what they did. Go get this person. Really mad when it gets turned on them, even when it getting turned on them is a fiction in their minds.
His actual ways of communication, body language, and so forth, he generally means that. But at the same time, as the four of us once again have been saying, is that you could only control yourself. You can't control the actions or the movements of other people. Plus, on top of that, to move forward in an aspect, if he doesn't say anything, he's just as bad as saying something. So I think in that aspect, Nick really, really meant what he said about that.
Of course I did.
That's just what I'm saying.
I mean everything I say. I mean it when I say Ron's a cuck. I mean it when I say Ron's a liar. I mean it when I say I think Ron gets pegged by Monica. I mean all of that. I also mean it that you shouldn't bother them, reach out to them, or talk to them. Of course I mean it. I'm not a liar. Ron is a liar. I don't have any... I wish you could give me a reason to lie about Vic's case. In the long run, it doesn't benefit me. In the short run, it doesn't benefit me.
Saying.
And that's fair, but if you go back and look at his choice of merchandise that he sells.
What merchandise are you concerned about, Ron? What merchandise would you be concerned about? I don't know what he could possibly have a problem with. Let's see. Let's see. What merchandise are you concerned with, Ron? I don't know. Maybe it's the Toye Ultimate Edition. What merchandise, Ron? Do you have a problem with my merch? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Come on, Ron. I'm going to wear the Toye tonight.
The clips that he puts up on his images.
Those thumbnails, by the way, are done by my thumbnail artist. And I have almost zero artistic input, Ron. That's the scary thing for you. I know Ron doesn't know this. This isn't Ron's fault. This isn't Ron's fault. Ron doesn't know this. Someone who I hire to draw because my drawings are shit. Someone who I hire to draw who's completely removed from all of this, draws you in that way with zero art direction from me. By the way, he also drew the Toye shirt. Zero direction. I'm not an art. I take no part in the thumbnails. When my guy makes a thumbnail or makes a piece of merchandise, I say, that looks good. That's about it. If there's some wording I don't like, I change the wording. That's it. The art, I don't think I've ever once criticized the art. That's how someone completely removed from anime pictures you. That should hurt your feelings way more than me doing it that way.
He knows how Google Analytics, in a sense, works.
No one knows how Google Analytics, in a sense, works.
And there's intention. There's a reason his thumbnails are in a sense political type cartoons to insinuate and insult people.
That's my artist, and that's why I hired him. He's great.
And he's selling merchandise glorifying disabilities in others.
What? I would never glorify a disability. I would make fun of a disability, probably. What disability am I making fun of here? What disability is that? Let's see these other ones. Free Hong Kong. We've got a mosquito. Maybe that's the one he's talking about. A mosquito eating a lemon. We've got the duck. We've got the duck. Teach your kids. We've got a compound bow. Single malt justice. Law explaining the interwebs. Something sexual. We got a couple different the Toye and the Toye Ultimate Edition. Me on a mug. Free Hong Kong. The pullover. Free Hong Kong. The mug. Lemoyne. Again. I guess it's just the lemon sucking. Take that L, you bitch. Oh, these are funny. I'm Cuck Heart. I forget what's on my store sometimes. How embarrassing. What disabilities are we making fun of other than Lemoyne's and your being having bitch tits or whatever? The Nick Rekieta, this is your iPhone case right there. Lost Blaming Socks. Look at all these damn listings. Look at these sexy ass leggings. Why doesn't Lady Rackets have these? I'm buying them in a minute. There we go. That's it. That's it. What are we talking about? Disabilities. Is it Lemoyne gasping for breath?
So when you look at somebody from a professional aspect, if he's coming on as Nick Rekieta, not the lawyer who's law-splaining the interweb.
This is the biggest lie Ron is going to tell right here.
Just Nick Rekieta.
And when this lie is done, we're going to end the stream. Well, we'll do the chats and then end the stream.
Cool. Use your infectious personality to be funny and rile me and say stupid shit about me. But as soon as you bring in the aspect that you are an attorney, then it's an automatic perceived authority, kind of like a teacher, right? And this is
right. The difference is, Ron, you're not mad that I'm an attorney and talked about it. You're mad that me being an attorney got me attention talking about it. If I was not an attorney, but similarly came to the table and said, this is my opinion on this lawsuit, and said everything the exact same and got the exact same response, Ron would still not like what happened and still have the same opinions on it. This is the lie. This is the lie. And this is important. It's an important lie. Because Ron is saying, well, it's because he said he's an attorney. No, Ron. You're mad at the outcome, not the factors that led to the outcome. You're being dishonest.
This is where I process. Teachers have an authority that's or a judge or anybody, right? Or
teachers don't have authority. Teachers in America are, oh my God. Look, if you're a teacher, I love you, but you get way more accolade than you deserve.
Or a licensed therapist or a licensed originator, whoever's licensed.
Licensed lawyer, teacher, therapist, loan originator. Fuck off. No one cares. I have never gone to my loan originator and been like, look, I need help with this situation. You're a loan originator. Can you help me? Oh my God. Look, God. Think about this. You talk to a lawyer about divorce. You talk to a therapist about divorce. You may actually talk to a respected teacher about divorce. Loan officer? Never. You talk to a lawyer about severe crippling debt. You'd probably talk to a therapist about crippling debt. You may talk to a teacher about crippling debt. Loan officer? Only if you're trying to get a loan to take on more debt to get out of crippling debt. Nobody thinks, loan originator, no one thinks, you know what? I've got a moral crisis. I've got a life problem. I'm going to go talk to my loan originator. Fuck me.
So, and I'm not saying he doesn't have the right to do it, but if you
Of course
look at
I have the right to do it.
If you look at the intent, if his intent was to try to represent his friend in an injustice, why destroy another person? Why?
Simple. Because the other person deserves destruction. By the way, when I started this, Vic was not my friend. Vic was just a guy on the internet. A guy who I perceived was being treated unjustly. So why destroy the people who are treating him unjustly? Because they are using injustice as a weapon, and I fucking hate it. Why destroy you? Because you're a soy-filled sack of shit that is using injustice as a tool to destroy someone else. That's it. Literally it. It's nothing to do with me being friends with Vic. I didn't know Vic. I got to meet him at Matsuri last year the first time. That was July. July! I'd spoken on the phone with him a couple times before that, but that's about it. July. Fuck you. You deserved it. You and Monica and Jamie Markey, pieces of absolute shit. Trying to use the social mechanism to ruin someone's life? Fuck off.
Because in his eyes, you destroy Vic.
Thank you,
and
Ken.
also something I'd like to jump in here as well, just really quickly. I honestly cannot remember who said this in the beginning of January, but one of the few things I do honestly remember is that somebody somewhere said
This is huge.
that
This is a
if
huge
Vic
point.
apologized and Vic seeks canceling, Vic got help, a lot of this stuff would disappear.
Monica.
One of the few
Monica said that. Yeah. Wait for it. The fistening is coming from the nobody saw it coming from Mr. Hop. Nobody on earth. Everybody's like, why is this guy laying down? He's kind of crooked. He's weird. He's looking lazy or whatever. Nobody sees it coming. He's about to deliver a Mike Tyson uppercut right into Ron's undergunt.
I honestly, I can't remember. But however, the thing is, didn't Vic apologize? Didn't Vic seek therapy to the point he's on the medication moving forward? And the thing is that I really, from my perspective, didn't see this weeb war let up at all after that. So,
yeah, and that is fair to say that. But if you go back.
Of course it's fucking fair. He did everything you lying cunts asked for. Every single step you demanded of him in public, he did them. And you would not relent. Ever. He did everything you asked. And you couldn't relent. Because it was all a fucking lie, and fuck you. We'll resume your video later. Ron Hop, you nailed him to the wall harder than Monica nails him every night. Fuck Ron Toye. Fuck Monica Rial. Fuck Jamie fat ass fucking Markey. They're all lying, and it's plainly fucking apparent to anybody with half a brain cell. They always say, well, if they just apologize and do this. Shocker. Someone apologizes and does exactly what they ask. Well, it wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough. Not enough time. He needs to pay for what he did. Blah, 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 blah. Of course, every time. Every time. It's never enough. It never can be. If it was enough, we wouldn't have problems. It's never enough. All right, let's do some chats. I have to pee so bad. I drank too much whiskey, so now I have to urinate heavily. Anonymous says, Nick, you made a mistake in yesterday's stream at 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 45 seconds. I demand a correction. Monica is not Ron's wife, and she never will be. Retract, you hack fraud. You're right. I said wife, I meant fiance. I apologize. Even though I said never to apologize, I do. In Ron Soye's voice says, I dream at night. I can only see your face. I look around, but it's you I can't replace. I feel so cold, and I long for your embrace. Dairy homo. Every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. Squawk. In Lemoyne's voice, sing. I've been alone with you inside my mind. In my dreams, I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. I sometimes see you pass outside my door. Hello? Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. I want to tell you so much. Love you. There you go. I think you left out some words on that verse, but we'll give it up. We'll give it up. Jeff the Gamer says, beep words if needed. To Ron, I, Jeff the Gamer, think your fiance is a disgusting, fat as a whale, thunder cunt of a bitch who deserves all the backlash she is getting, you abusive piece of human trash, fucktarded cock. Part 1 of 2. Part 2 of 2 says, to Ron, you lot brought this on yourselves with your own words and actions, and he continues to always ask us not to harass you, dumbass. Nick has never supported harassing anyone's. These are my opinions. No one else. Fuck you. Fran Mataraki says, we all know why Ron truly stays with Monica. It's because she gets that booty hole all nice and prolapsed and bloody with blown out back to boot. Also, it can double up as CBT when she goes down on him. Them teeth, though. Fuck me. Oh, my God. Crusader Saracen says, Rooster Teeth won't be bringing Vic back, but more likely because there won't be a Rooster Teeth around for much longer. I think firing Vic actually plays into that, which is funny to me. Crusader Saracen says, blows the doors off a Golden Corral. Christ, Nick, have some mercy. No mercy! Hermit the Frog says, boy, Ron, you seem pretty upset there when people bring up your abusiveness or call you on your bullshit. You all right there, buddy? Maybe you should step away from the twit. Oh, wait, you got banned? Eat shit, my girlfriend is hotter than yours. Thank you, Kermit the Frog. Hank Hill says, you blocked your own father on Facebook? Oh, damn it, I can't do a Hank voice right now. I bet you cook your steaks with charcoal, huh? Wait, no. Oh, yes. I bet you even eat yours well done. Boy, there ain't right. I tell you what. That was a bad Hank Hill, but I will not apologize. Knight of Hopex says, Ron, you're a gay, trans, black retard. Hashtag get it, bitch. Middle finger. Crusader Saracen says, not having Ron's respect is a mark of commendation, not of condemnation. I agree. Hey Bebe 26 says, hey Nick, please accept this. Of course I will. I just wanted to say thank you for my first Jean-Claude Van Damme movie last night. I had a lot of laughs. Can't wait for more movies like that. Again, thanks. P.S. Is Ron crying soybeans? Yes, he is. There's more Van Damme movies to come, by the way. Dungeon Master says, wrestling announcer voice. This contest is scheduled for one fall. In this corner, he's the best of boomers, the racketeer himself. It's Nick the Lawman Rekieta. And in this corner, the saddest of soy suckers, the craven cuckboy, it's Ron Toye. Citizen of Yarmouth says, rap this emphasizing the syllables. Interior loan originator. My fiance is the size of a refrigerator. I hope that was what you were looking for. Next, Ryan Gordon says, Ron must have been made fun of when he was younger for sounding like he sucks on helium balloons. Basement Troll Production says, pull up Twitter when you can. Tag you with an interesting pic. Think the viewers would get a nice laugh out of it. Nicole? What? No, I'm not going to find that. Basement Troll Production says, to go with the last super chat, also got pics of a male Monica and a female Ron. Monica would actually be a decent looking man, but Ron looks effing nuts. Mario Carter 13 says Sheepdog will be joining you in the doghouse. Nikki. Mars Ultor says, Nick, you should get Aaron Clary, Captain Capitalism, on so you can talk about how much you both hate Minnesota. Minnesotans and Minnesota nice. That sounds great. Who's that guy? Solemn says, I'm drinking an oatmeal cookie tonight. How about you? I drank a lot of whiskey and a grape crush. Bad Vibe says, I sent a link to Twit DM. Shadows King 101 says, I was born in the grape soda, molded by it. Oh, damn. Mario Carter 13 says, 17-0, women to credible accusations. Squawk? Fuck. Brutal. Princess Alyssa, the Fox Hybrid, says, keep up the great work. Nick, take my first donation. Oh, I'm happy to. Thank you so much. DA Talks says, I understand there's backstory for Ken being there, but I think Crumb and Ron by themselves would have been better. I don't know. I think Ken being there was actually really good. Ken pressed on some points that were pretty important. Some nobody says subjective truth isn't truth. Bite me. 3. Ron Margari says, Roy Margari says, I've seen people in electric chairs sit more still than Ron, the fidgety dunce. Super Alfredo 64 says, whoa, Nick, hold up. Calling Ron a dildo means he gets some. We all know he doesn't. Maybe a cuck dildo, but still either way. Brooke Williams says they actively profited from VM work despite this open secret. Doesn't that make all accusers who worked with VM accessories to said criminal actions? I mean, no, not in criminal sense, but in the public sense, yeah, absolutely. Nate Higgers, welcome to super lawyer status. Interesting name. Mario Carter 13 says Ron's been fired before. It's called a divorce. Damn. Richard Dangler, welcome to lawyer status. I appreciate it. Roy Mogharry says Ron will call Ty's competence into question, and yet he hired an attorney who doesn't even know how to use bug spray. Damn it. Angry Baneling says, great rants today, yesterday, and today. Nick, thank you. Some nobody says Monica equals horse, Marky equals whale. Get it right. Some nobody also says Golden Corral doesn't allow horses, though. Funny enough. Andrew War Snowboard says, of course, Ron is a cuck. Monica voiced Bulma. JC Gaming says, I want to see Ron say to Vic, I'm sorry, I'm a soy-filled bitch that ruined your career. Mario Carter 13 says, black eyes matter. Papa Soye. Damn. Some nobody says, press X to doubt Ron's dad is even racist. Pressing X. You know, Ron, maybe he is. Ron Jr. was apparently caught using the N-word on his YouTube streams. Very, very non-PC. He should maybe be canceled forever. You can't find them now because Papa Ron went and had him shut them down, but they're on KiwiFarms. The archive of Ron Jr.'s N-words are on KiwiFarms. Did Ron block Ron Jr.? I don't know. Snubbirth 13 says, Nick, explain genie law to me and why law Twitter circle jerks about it. I have no idea. No idea what you're talking about. Roy Margari says, Ron claims to be an advocate for the LGBTQ plus community, yet he went after a man with obviously gay pants. I agree. Very, very hypocritical. Unbeknownst X says, Ron cries after Monica pegs him. LMAO. Lamau! Ishaelson says, guess I'll be nice and give Ron something. There's no shoe on a cutting board. Good job, Ron. Some nobody says, all Ron says about Nick is his opinion of himself. Damn. Rogue says, quite a joy watching Soyboy cry like a chump. Cal Clay says, Nick, he's crying because Monica is pegging him off camera and it hurts. Lol. I have the movie on my Dropbox. Can I share a link with you? Email or Discord? Send it email, preferably. No, wait. Send it on Discord. That'd be fine. Unbeknownst to X says, in the words of the great Poet 69, he's mad, she's mad, big sad, haha, don't care, stay mad, ahahaha. 2012 Jameson says, hey, check your DMs, Boomer, to get video to clown Ty. Okay. X Varna says, I'm just a human being who F's up. Can honestly say I've never effed up so bad I painted a man as a predator of children, then destroyed his life, Ron. Richard Dangler says, so did Chup consider time period prior to Moronica team going for TCPA? No idea. I don't know what Chup considered because his ruling doesn't really make a lot of sense. No one important says, I'm the opposite. My favorite shows are just making fun of Ron. I'll throw as much money at you just to keep doing them. Making fun of Kick Vic is the best. No one important also says, I think Ron is too dumb to lie. Pokemon's Master says, it's officially my birthday. Happy birthday, buddy. In a lemon voice, ask, do you know any con sluts that want to join the West Nile High Club? Please. I haven't had sex in a month. And the last time was with my dog. Octagon Smuggler says, let's watch Hellraiser, please. Oh, we're gonna. Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 are coming. No one important says, I did the same thing. Talked to someone who was a con worker and said it made him feel uncomfortable seeing Vic give hugs. Good Lord, these people. That's Cuckscent 101. Basement Troll Production says, Nick won't mock him, but I will. Ron's dad thinks he's an embarrassment. Sounds to me like he wonders why his son is a little soy-filled bitch. Jason Pritchard says, I'd apologize for missing the last 3 hours, but I didn't want a metaphorical ear-pegging listening to Ron, so here's $5. Hey, thanks. Shine Greymont says, yo, Nick, chill out, man, and let Ty do his job in court. But Ty's doing his job in court. That's up to him. I'm laughing at an idiot on the internet. The Red Pill Journey says, Ron, this is a weird one. I'm not involved in court. I went to court as an observer, as many people did one time. Other than that, I'm not involved. The Red Pill Journey says, Ron brings a snack tray in his room. He has one thing on it, lipstick. He looks in the mirror and says in Ron's voice, is this what you like, mother? Tell me, mother, does this please you? I Hate Yankee says, give me that dopamine, Mr. Lawyer Man. Here you go. Inject it right into your veins. Davey Croco 2 says, hey, dude. Hey, what's up? And then Crusader Saracen says, how would you characterize Rooster Teeth's fortunes since they fired Vic? Poor. And how, in your opinion, did his firing contribute? I think it just made a lot of fans who would have otherwise maybe been willing to give them some grace just walk away. Look, these fixed models where you have monthly subscriptions, you have predictable amounts of income because you have a group of users who are giving you monthly income. If any significant portion of those people walk away, you lose income that you're counting on. Monthly income that is steady is a valuable asset in business. If you know every month 100 people are going to give you $20, then you know for a fact you're going to get $2,000, right? You're going to get 2,000. Wait. Yeah, you're going to get my math wrong. God damn it. 100 times 20 is 2,000. You're going to get $2,000 every month. And that's not going to change very often. The way subscription services work is they're predictable. You can algorithmically predict how much they're going to vary within a margin of error. Now, if you get a massive deviation from the margin and you don't have other means of collecting money, you take your fixed income versus your fixed cost. Fixed income versus fixed cost, and those go out of whack. Let's say you have fixed income of X and you have a fixed cost of 80% of X. All right, so you have fixed profits of 20%. Well, then let's say your fixed income drops by 30%. You can't necessarily drop your fixed costs because you have staffing and administrative costs that need to be taken care of. You have licensing or whatever. Suddenly you're at now a negative 10% loss because your 80% X figure can't change. Fixed cost businesses don't get to change cost when revenue drops dramatically. That's the danger that places like Rooster Teeth and Funimation are in. Rooster Teeth specifically. And I think that's what's happening to them. They have fans who otherwise would have given them goodwill and grace during some other missteps. Fans who would have otherwise supported them with monthly income walked away. Those things add up and they really do hurt. And then finally, Freighter says, Vic reciting Magnus, the minds of gods are not for mortals to know or judge, except that Tzeentch has a place for all of us. in his grand scheme and be happy in the part you have to play. All right, thank you. All right, guys. We're done with this. I'm going to go start the Twitch stream. I'm going to get Lady Rackets, and we're going to watch House of 1,000 Corpses. It'll probably start around 2:30 to 2:45, but we're going to have a good time watching it. Come on to Twitch. Oh, I didn't do the Vic voice. Oh, sorry. Sorry, the Vic voice is what you meant. The minds of gods are not for mortals to know or judge, except that Siege has a place for all of us in his grand scheme, and be happy in the part that you have to play. There you go. No, I won't get struck for that because it is on the watch party feature. It's actually a feature of Twitch, so come watch it. Come hang. All right, guys. Outro song is coming. I will see you on Twitch, and then tomorrow we will have Spectre on for the Justina. What's her? Justina French last name. Pelletier case, and we'll talk about that then. See you then. Hope you guys have a good night. Peace. Peace.
He drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, or a Lafroig. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed, so pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So
next he says Gladiator 1992 commentary when? Oh man, if it's on Prime as soon as frickin' possible. I love that movie. Bad Vibe says, is Lemoyne the modern bubble boy due to COVID, or is he his own personal fallout shelter? Lemoyne is just a disaster of lungery. Lungery is failing.